Hey guys, so today I want to do another ranking video, and this time I'll be ranking all the full-size headphones that I've tried before by tier. So yes, these are all the over-ear headphones, on-ear headphones, basically everything that's not in-ear monitor or earphone. I'll be doing that in another video. Yeah, just anything that's full-size covering, going over my head basically, over my ear or on the ear, wireless and wired. So I've tried a lot of headphones before, and yeah, I want to do a ranking, and I'll be ranking them on tiers. So I'll be going D tier, which is going to be like disappointing or below average for me, C tier, which is I would say average, B tier, which is above average, A tier, which is outstanding, and S tier, which is super super special or unique in a way. So yeah, that's what I'll be ranking it by, and this will be not just based on the tuning, but just based on what I think of the headphone, or like personal preferences. Of course, like this thing is always subjective, right? So don't take this ranking as like any kind of definitive objective ranking. Of course, it's going to be based on my preferences, but yeah, based on how much I like the tuning. So very subjective, I know, but that's what I'll be ranking it on, just how much I like the tuning, and then how much value are you getting for the price that you pay for it. So these are going to be kind of the two main factors on which tier the headphone that I'll be ranking it for. So yeah, I think those two are the main factors that will be determining which tier the headphone belongs in. Mainly just how much I like the tuning, and then how much value are you getting out of it for the sound quality. There may be other factors like the build quality and kind of the appearance and design as well. There may be other factors, but the two main factors are going to be how much I like the tuning, and then yeah, the value that you get out of it for the sound quality, how much for the price that you're paying. Okay, so yeah, if you guys are interested, stay tuned. I'm going to be ranking, a lot of the headphones that I've tried before that are full size. Okay, so in the D tier, I'm going to put the Audio-Technica QuietPoint ATH-ANC 7B. So these are noise canceling headphones, and they're the second pair of noise canceling headphones I ever owned. The first was, I think, the Sennheiser PXCs. Yeah, Sennheiser made some really early noise canceling headphones, and I think they were the type that had like this little control switch that you press up on, and then it cancels out noise. It was actually pretty decent at the time, but you guys can tell like this really old noise cancellation technology, right? Having to carry around a separate switch with a separate battery pack, and then obviously noise cancellation technology has improved a lot since then. But yeah, the QuietPoint ANC 7Bs, I remember these being not really that good at noise cancellation. They look better than the Sennheisers. You don't have to carry around a separate little control switch thing compared to the Sennheiser PXCs. But yeah, you guys can see that there's a switch on the headphones where if you press up on the switch, you'll cancel out the noise and stuff. Yeah, it still wasn't like that great. We're talking about really early noise cancellation technology. This is over 10 years ago, and I think I got this back in 2013 or something. But yeah, looks decent, I guess, when you have them on your head. It actually looks like almost like they're trying to get some of that Bose Quiet Comfort type of design out there, but it is not as good as Bose. Obviously, back then, it's still now to this day, but they have more competition now. But back then, Bose was the market leader for noise cancellation. No other company even came close to Bose in that category. So yeah, Audio-Technica didn't even come close to Bose in terms of noise cancellation tech. And the sound wasn't very good either. Like you had pretty muddied mids. Honestly, not a lot of detail, and sound wasn't that great, and the noise cancellation wasn't that great. So all in all, I had to put this in the D tier because it's not really that great at what it does. I know it's not too expensive. You can get it for like, actually it may have been more than this, but I think at the time it was discontinued, it was like $100. So not too expensive, but at the same time, it's not great, and I can't recommend it. So it goes in D tier here. Like even for the time, it wasn't that good in terms of noise cancellation or sound quality. Nowadays, there's even more competition, right? There's absolutely no reason to get these now. Okay, also in the D tier, I'm gonna put the Audeze EL8 Opens. I got these back in 2017. I think they were the first pair of closed-back high-end headphones I ever had. So I had kind of expectations for them because, up until that point, I've never purchased such a high-end headphone. These originally retailed for $700. I got them at a discount for half price, but even then, I felt like they didn't really live up to the price because, honestly, I was expecting more. Maybe it's just less because, like, the name, because people keep hyping up, oh, Audeze headphones are like super high-end, super audiophile. The LCD2 had been, pretty popular. as everyone knows, in the audiophile community. LCD2 was very, very popular. Everyone hyped about it. And then the EL8s came out, and I tried them, and I was like, I don't see what's so special about the about Audi's headphones, you know? Like, first of all, the open back, even though it's open back, it doesn't feel like the soundstage is that much wider. Like, now that I've tried a lot more open back headphones, like, yeah, it's just, the EL8s just weren't that wide. Didn't have too much bass in it. And I felt like, okay, the mids are not a little bit recessed, didn't really feel like that detailed. And then the highs are, the upper treble is pushed up a bit because it has that 8K peak. So that's not very good. But then the lower treble's kind of rolled off. So I don't know. Just the tuning isn't very good. Wasn't very detailed. It actually sounded kind of veiled to me. Bass wasn't that great. Didn't really even have that much soundstage, even though it's open back. So honestly, my first pair of planar magnetic headphones and my first pair of open backs, I had high expectations for these. Unfortunately, they couldn't live up to them. And I felt this way about a lot of Audi's headphones. Maybe Audi's headphones are just not for me, but yeah, I just always kind of felt disappointed by them. Anyways, I'm going to put the EL8s in the D tier because I was pretty disappointed with these. Okay, so here's another Audi's I'm going to put in the D tier, the LCD ones. So these retailed for $400. And yeah, I just didn't feel like these are worth $400. Like, these are the most affordable Audi's headphones at the time, and I get that they're meant to be affordable. I'm not expecting LCD quality, LCD2 quality, sorry. Yeah, these are the LCD ones, you know, they're still part of the LCD line. But they're very affordable relative to the other LCD headphones, and they're kind of small, light, and comfortable to wear. But the problem is they don't have the sound quality to match up, right? Like, they're just so far off from the LCD2s. The LCD2s, like, everyone talks about them. Yeah, they sound pretty good, even though they're extremely warm and dark. But LCD ones don't sound like that at all. They don't have the soundstage of any open backs. They don't sound detailed. They sound pretty veiled, in my opinion. So yeah, I just didn't feel anything special about these ones. Like, to compare, at $400 you can get the HiFiMan HE400, which I felt was much better. Even you can get the Edition XS at a discount, and you can buy a Sundara actually for that price as well at the time. So those are all better sounding headphones than the LCD ones. So they're just much better options at the price point. I feel like even if you want to go with planar magnetics, HiFiMan has better options. HE400 or the Sundaras. I felt like they sound better than the LCD ones. I was comparing them too. Like, they honestly, it's kind of like the EL8s, you know. I was just very disappointed with these. So they go in D tier for me. Yeah, I think that you just might much rather get a HiFiMan headphone at this price point. It's just, yeah, going to be way better bang for your buck there. Okay, so next up on the D tier is the JVC HASW01s. Coming at $500 US, I believe. I tested these out because I wanted to compare some of the Japanese closed back wooden headphones, which the JVCs have as well. They have, you know, nice wood closed back. A lot of Japanese headphone makers like Denon and Audio-Technica also do this as well. It looks nice, but the sound quality just didn't compare. Like, honestly, it just felt disappointing to me. Like, the bass was just pushed up way too much. Felt really muddy. The entire sound signature just felt like muddy and incoherent to me, actually. And definitely for $500, I think there's better closed backs you can get at the price point. Like the Fostex TH610, I just feel like it's a straight up better headphone. And you can get it for a similar price, right? So yeah, or the Denon D5200 for that matter. Denon D5200 or the Fostex TH610 you can get for a similar price, and they're way better in terms of sound quality and everything. So yeah, I just didn't feel anything with JVCs. Too much bass, too muddy, incoherent. Yeah, unfortunate. But I did not like these headphones at all, so I'm gonna put them in D tier here. Okay, also in the D tier are the Neumann NDH20. These are the first headphones by Neumann, which is a German microphone maker. They've been known for historically making very good studio microphones that a lot of famous musicians and artists used. So yeah, I was kind of excited to use the NDH20s because of their pro musician background, right? But honestly, these were pretty disappointing, and I might have actually gotten a defective pair, I think. Because just take this with a grain of salt, I do not think that the ones I tried, they just did not sound very good at all. This is pretty contrary to what people online say. Like when I heard my NDH20s, they just sounded very muffled, sounded like they were underwater almost. Very, very weird tuning. You guys can see this if you look at my review video for the NDH20 because I actually tested the sound on it and put it into a microphone. But yeah, just sounded very weird to me. Like the sound is very muffled, sound like it was underwater. The frequency response wasn't very coherent at all. Yeah, you just it just sounded weird to me. But maybe I might have gotten a defective pair. You know, some people online have said that these are pretty good for them, but just in my opinion, because I've tried these ones, maybe mine were like defective or something, but they did not sound like. These are supposed to be studio headphones, right? They're supposed to be reference. These did not sound that at all. They sounded completely off. So that's why I put in the D tier. But again, take my opinion with a grain of salt here, because I might have gotten defective ones. But from the ones I heard, definitely they're not going anything above the D tier. They just sounded just downright bad to me. Like they did not sound like $500 headphones at all, not even close. They sounded more like $100 headphones to me, which is kind of sad. But yeah, that's what I heard anyways. Okay, so next up on the D tier is the Sony Z7M2, which is Sony's second from the top in terms of headphone pricing. Like these ones retailed originally for $900 US, which is quite a bit. Their most expensive is their flagship Z1R, which I think is like $1,500 or $1,600, something like that. Anyways, these are not as expensive as Z1Rs, but also, yeah, when I tried them, I just... yeah, I felt like these were almost like the audiophile high-end version of the 1000 XM series. You know the popular Sony wireless series, right? The 1000 XM3s, XM4s, XM5s. Yeah, these felt like the audiophile high-end version of those. So it has that sound signature where the bass is a bit bloated, and then it has kind of a treble sparkle. The mids are a little bit recessed. It's got that V-shaped tuning that's popular among mainstream consumers, except this one has a little bit more detail and clarity than those wireless versions. But I still think like this is overpriced, yeah, I know maybe the prices come down since then, they should, because at the original $900 price, I just don't think that these are worth it. They're pretty overpriced for what you get. Because honestly, first of all, I don't really like that sound signature. I get that like a lot of mainstream consumers might like that bloated bass type of thing, but I don't really like it. And Z7M2s had that warm bass. The Z1Rs also have it as well, but the Z7M2s have that nice warm bass that some people like, but I don't really like it too much. Yeah, and on top of that, just the detail clarity, yes, is better than 1000 XM5s as you would expect, but they're still not what you would expect for a $900 headphone. Like $900, like I expect more detail and clarity at that price point than what you're getting. The amount of detail retrieval that you get from this in the soundstage is closer to like a $500 headphone than $900. So honestly, yeah, it is overpriced, and I don't like the tuning that much either, to be honest. I just feel like the bass is too warm and bloated for me. So anyways, that's why it goes in the D tier for me here. Okay, also up in the D tier is one of the most expensive headphones that I ever owned, and it's the Audio-Technica AWKTs, or the AUX. And yeah, like probably you guys might be saying, well, why such an expensive headphone on the D tier? Well, these headphones cost $1,900 US retail. And it does not sound like that at all, honestly, which is kind of a shame because it's a really beautiful looking headphone. I mean, in terms of the appearance, it's kind of, I guess, worth that price or on that tier, right? You can see the beautiful Japanese kokutan wood there. I really like that Japanese wood there that they have here. It's really beautiful. Part of the reason why I wanted to try it out, because it's just, honestly, it's a really beautiful looking headphone. But everything else about the headphone's not good. The comfort is not good. It's got these really massive pads that kind of squish on your ears. The headband's not comfortable, and this is really honestly perplexing considering that Audio-Technica makes comfortable headphones in their affordable range, but for some reason in their expensive range they have these like double band headbands that don't feel comfortable at all, and these massive ear pads that kind of press up against your ears. Feels like an on-ear headphone, honestly. And the sound quality is just not up there on it. Like, first of all, bass is very light on these, which is, it's not great, but it's okay. Bass is light, fine. Mids are decent, especially upper mids are quite detailed. Treble, just like other Japanese headphones, I think this is a very bright headphone. So treble's kind of peaky and harsh. Upper mids are really peaky as well. So very shouty upper mids. And the treble is also very peaky and harsh. So that's a problem with this headphone. Even after I burned it in, I tried to run it, just on pink noise, burning it in for a day or so. No, it improved slightly, but not by much. It's just way too harsh on the treble, way too shouty on the upper mids. Yeah, it's just not tuned very well. Like the detail resolution on the mids and the treble are there. It's just tuned in a way where you cannot listen to a song for more than like a minute or so before you get fatigued, basically. It's a very, very fatiguing headphone. So unfortunately, I don't know why Audio-Technica tuned it like that, but it's very hard to listen to. Yeah, the upper mid-range is just way too spiky and shouty, and the treble is also peaky as well. So you add both of those together, yeah, it's almost unlistenable. So for $1,900, it's honestly a huge disappointment. It just looks good. That's about the only thing it has going for it, unfortunately. Okay, so also in the D tier is another pair of Audis, the Maxwells, and I know a lot of people like the Maxwells a lot, but I don't. Or maybe I have a defective pair or something. I don't know. When I tried these, I was comparing to my other wireless headphones I was reviewing, and these came in dead last place, honestly. The sound quality is just, it's not up there. It sounds veiled, it sounds muffled, it sounds underwater. I don't know, like some people have said, oh, you got to use the app or something to get the most out of it. Well, I don't know. I think like headphones should be able to sound good without the app, right? Like you shouldn't need the app for a wireless headphone to sound good. I'm reviewing all these other wireless headphones that sound like I don't use the app for them. That's the thing. I want to review these headphones without being able to use the app, just to see what they sound like without the app. And they should sound good without the app. If you make your headphones sound bad without the app, you know, that's not good design in my opinion. Anyways, whatever the reason, I didn't like the sound of these. They sounded very veiled and muffled and underwater, and yeah, just overall did not have that sound quality that I was looking for, especially from a company like Audis. And it has microphone built in. Okay, that's nice, but it's the other thing is it's really uncomfortable to wear. And this is a problem with a lot of Audis headphones. Honestly, every one of them except for the LCD ones, because they're so light, the rest of them just feel uncomfortable to wear. LCD 2s are uncomfortable to wear. Yeah, the Maxwells, they just feel like you have these giant things on your head, and they're really heavy actually. So I don't know. If people like the sound, then great, but at the very least, you have to admit that these are heavy headphones. That's not even debatable. It's not disputable. These are heavy headphones, okay? And you gotta wear them on your head for long gaming sessions? No way, I'm not gonna wear that, right? It's not comfortable to wear. So anyways, not comfortable to wear, and sound quality is not up there for me. And in terms of noise cancellation, well, there is none. So yeah, that's another problem with these as wireless headphones, because at least some of the other wireless headphones, they have additional features like noise cancellation. These don't even have that. So anyways, these will go in my D tier. I know a lot of people love them, and I'll get hate for this, but I didn't like the Maxwells at all, unfortunately. Okay, so Technics A800 is also going in this tier as well. I did this in a comparison with other wireless headphones, and I think the A800 actually came in dead last place, because honestly, I can't say anything good about it. Like, okay, maybe the design. Yeah, I like the design. It's got that really nice, clean, industrial look that Technics is known for, and other Japanese companies like to keep it, kind of simple looking, have that nice industrial Japanese look to it. Yeah, it's got a nice, clean look to it. I like it. But other than that, the sound is not that good. Sound-wise, yeah, it's not that detailed. Everything sounds kind of muffled. Not much in the way of bass or mids for that matter. And the treble's kind of like harsh, and it just sounds like what's the word for it? Tinny. That's the word for it. Yeah, it sounds very tinny. And you guys can hear this in the sound comparison test that I did. The Technics are just not up there in terms of sound quality. Definitely not in the $400 price range compared to the other wireless headphones. Yeah. Sounds muffled and tinny, and doesn't have the noise cancellation either. Noise cancellation is probably the worst out of all of them. I mean, Technics has gotten better at this since. I think I reviewed some of their recent wireless earbuds, like the AZ80s. They've definitely gotten better at noise cancellation, but the A800s definitely do not have that at the time, I think. So anyways, doesn't have noise cancellation, so it doesn't have the tech, and doesn't have the sound quality to back it up either. So yeah, there's really not much going for it other than just, okay, maybe you like the nice clean looks. That's about it. Yeah, can't really say much else about this headphone. Definitely, yeah, probably one of the worst wireless headphones I've listened to at its price range. Okay, Bang & Olufsen HX. I'm also going to put this in a D tier because it's quite overpriced in my opinion. And I know that Bang & Olufsen, in general, they overprice pretty much all their products. I mean, they're kind of like a luxury brand of speakers and headphones. But the HX is especially like this because I did not feel the sound quality was like the sound quality, like even at $400, I'm not sure if I would take this over the Sennheiser Momentum 4s, for example. Yeah, and maybe not over the Sony 1000 XM5s either, because at least that has better tech. Even the Bose Noise Canceling 700, you know, that has at least better tech. So the Bang & Olufsen's, sound quality wise, they're okay. I mean, they're a little bit of V-shape. I mean, that's fine. Like that's a mainstream type of tuning. Decently detailed, I guess, but it's just, yeah, for the price that you're paying, it's not worth it. The Bowers PX7 S2s just for cheaper can just easily beat this in terms of sound quality and noise cancellation for that matter, because the noise cancellation wasn't very good either. Like, yeah, the noise cancellation probably, I think in my test, I was comparing at the time, yeah, it was like probably on par, maybe even worse than the Sennheiser Momentum 4s actually, because yeah, the Momentums, yeah, they're not good, but I don't think the Bang & Olufsen's noise cancellation was up to par with the Sennheisers even. So, and the Sennheisers have better sound quality, I would say. So, yeah, it's not very good in terms of, I would say that it's not like the sound quality is bad, it's just that it's overpriced for what you get. Yeah, like the sound is just okay, and then noise cancellation is not there. So yeah, and I know it has like a nice premium look and materials and everything. That's what Bang & Olufsen's about. But if I were to judge it based on value, I cannot give it a good value at all. So yeah, anyways, I'm putting it in this tier here. Okay, so this is actually another disappointment for me. So the Austrian Audio X55s. So Austrian Audio is a company made up of former AKG engineers. When AKG was bought out by Samsung, a lot of former AKG engineers decided to create a new company called Austrian Audio. And these are all really nicely built. They're made in Austria and everything. These retail for $350, no, $330 actually. And yeah, honestly, they're a bit of a disappointment. I think they were trying to go for the AKG K712 type of like kind of sound signature, but they kind of failed, in my opinion. Like, first of all, yeah, the sub bass doesn't really have much response there. They dip the sub bass, which doesn't make any sense because like you're supposed to elevate the sub bass. Sub bass is normally not very perceivable anyways. You gotta raise it, right? Nope, they dip the sub bass. So that means the no sub bass can be heard. And then the upper mids, they dip that for whatever reason, I don't know. And they raise the lower mids, I don't know why. So usually when you have a more balanced sound signature, you would kind of raise the upper mids and kind of dip the lower mids. But they kind of did the opposite. They raised the lower mids and dipped the upper mids. I don't know why. And then the treble is a bit peaky as well. So it's not really referenced at all, honestly. This might be the same thing I'm hearing with the Newmans as well. I think the NDH20s, right? Yeah, it's like trying to be the studio monitoring type of sound, but it fails miserably, unfortunately. So no, these are not the AKG K712s. Yeah, not even close, unfortunately. Even the Shure SRH 940s just kill it. When I did the side-by-side comparisons with the Shure SRH 940s just kind of just kill it at the same price point. So, yeah. I mean, the only thing the Austrian Audio had over the Shures is the build quality, really. That's about it. Yes, it has better build quality. That's about all I can say. Otherwise, sound quality-wise, the Shures just kill it. So, if you're looking for a truly studio reference sound for this price range, just go for the Shure SRH 940s instead. Yeah, these ones are just kind of weirdly tuned, especially for what's supposed to be like a studio monitoring type of headphone. Okay, so now we're in the C tier here, and these are headphones I think are going to be roughly like average-ish, you know, for the value. So Samsung level overs, yeah, these are a pair of old headphones that came out like more than 10 years ago. I remember having them for just a little while. I didn't have them for too long. Honestly, they're not that bad. From my recollection, the sound was okay. It was like kind of a balanced type of sound. It wasn't bass heavy. It wasn't like a Beats or anything like that. So it wasn't bass heavy. Treble and bass are pushed up a bit, not too much. It's reasonably well balanced actually. It's not going to give you the most detail, of course. There's still better sounding headphones. That's why eventually I got rid of it for the Sennheiser Momentums, because the Momentum sounded better. But they were okay, I think. And the noise cancellation was not great, but it's okay. You know, it's not going to beat Bose or anything like that. But it's fine. So I think for the price was $350, was kind of on the higher side at the time. But nowadays, you think $350 and it's like, okay, that's just a typical price for wireless noise canceling headphones. I mean, back then, I guess it was considered high, but it's okay. I mean, some people thought it was overpriced. I thought the Samsung level overs were okay. At the very least, I didn't think they were like Beats headphones or anything like that, like pushing up the bass too much. Because at the time, there's all these like Beats headphones type of imitators. There's the Soul by Ludacris. All these other, all these other Beats audio imitators, and Samsung at least wasn't like that. I think they had another pair of. They had other like lines that were kind of like that, like the Urbanites or something like that. But no. Yeah, so these ones were okay, I think. So, anyways, that's it's going in this kind of mid-tier here. Okay, so now I know the Samsung level overs were kind of inspired by the Parrot Zeeks. Parrot Zeeks had like these touch controls and everything, and I think the Samsung tried to copy that as well with the levels. And this is the Parrot Zeek 2s, which I had a little bit after. I think I had these like 2016, 2017. Yeah, these are pretty interesting because at the time they were considered to be pretty advanced. Wireless headphones. So Parrot, for those of you guys who don't know, they're a company that kind of specialized in making Bluetooth devices, and back then they made a lot of these interesting Bluetooth devices actually, and unfortunately they don't exist anymore. But they actually surprisingly made these decent pair of wireless headphones that actually sounded pretty solid. Actually, I remember these sounding pretty decent. Like similar to the Samsung level overs, I think, like in terms of a balanced sound signature, has a slight V shape. Not too much bass, not too bloated, so that's fine. Details were okay. Overall, they sounded pretty decent, right? And I know they were expensive. They're like $400 at the time, which was expensive for the time for Bluetooth headphones. But these were probably one of the better sounding Bluetooth headphones on the market back then. Interesting design. It's designed by Philip Stark, I believe. Pretty famous designer, and yeah, good tech on it. Noise cancellation was also good, not up to Bose's level or Sony's level actually later on, but at the time it was good. It was okay. So I'm gonna put Parrot here in the C tier as well. I feel like at the time they came out, yes, they were expensive, but the sound quality was decent and the technology was there. I think the Bluetooth didn't last very long. It was like 6 hours or whatever, so battery life wasn't very good. But yeah, in terms of the noise cancellation and the sound quality, it was solid actually. So anyways, I'm put it in this tier here. Okay, also going in this tier is the Bose Quiet Comfort 35s, which I had for a while. I think I had these for like maybe a year or so. Yeah, so these ones, just like other Bose headphones, and I feel like Bose headphones almost all sound pretty similar to me, at least. Yeah, these ones definitely have bloated bass. So just like a lot of other mainstream consumer wireless headphones, I would say, they push up the bass quite a bit. They make it very V-shaped, as people like to listen to the music, and you have the energetic factor, the dynamic factor that makes it, the music sound more alive. And it's just better for modern music, which is made with more electronic music and stuff like that. So yeah, the pushed up bass and elevated treble and everything. Yeah, I personally don't like the sound signature. Honestly, if it wasn't for the technology, I would put this in the D tier. But the thing that saves this is the noise cancellation technology, which was ahead of everyone else at the time. Let's just get that out of the way. Bose, nowadays they have more competition from Apple and Sony, but back when this was released, the mid 2010s, Bose pretty much owned the noise cancellation market. Like, they just so far ahead of everyone else. The noise cancellation was superb. There is no other headphone that was even competing with it at the time. So that's the main reason why it has to go at least in the C tier, in my opinion. I don't like the sound signature, and it doesn't really have that great quality either. You're not really getting much detail out of the sound, but I still have to put it in this, at least the C tier, because the technology was so good. The noise cancellation technology was the best at the time. So anyways, that's where I'm putting Bose Quiet Comfort 35. So I'm putting this tier. The value that you're getting is mostly from the noise cancellation. There's a reason why you see so many people on planes wearing these. They're just so good for canceling out the jet noise and everything. The noise cancellation tech is just, at the time it was released, it was just the best. You can't beat the Bose when it came to that at the time. Okay, so the Sony MDR 1000X. So these are Sony's first iteration of their wireless noise cancellation headphones. They would go on to make, of course, the 1000 XM2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and now 6s. yeah, they created a whole line of very popular wireless headphones. But this is the first iteration. It wasn't quite as popular as the other ones at the time it was released. I guess because people didn't really know about it that much yet, because eventually they will go on to kind of surpass, I would say, Bose, I guess, in terms of popularity. Nowadays, I see a lot more Sony headphones than even Bose headphones. So I think Sony has succeeded in taking over Bose. But at the time, Bose was the market leader, and Sony was kind of the up-and-coming newcomer in terms of wireless noise cancellation. So the MDR 1000X didn't get as much popularity when it was first released, but I used these for like 2 years or so. And they turned out to be pretty good. I mean, the 1000X M3s I upgraded to, but I remember the MDR 1000Xs being, again, okay for what they were. Like, it has that typical, I guess, Sony sound signature that you would associate now with just kind of like elevated bass and treble, kind of this V-shaped sound signature. The noise cancellation, I could tell, was very good even at the time. So nowadays, of course, with the newer 1000XM 5s and 6s, the noise cancellation is just on a different level. But with the 1000X, I could already tell that they started off with pretty good noise cancellation. Now, it wasn't up to Bose's level at the time. It wasn't going to equal the Quiet Comfort 35s, but it was close. And then they would eventually match or exceed Bose in that area later on. But yeah, the sound quality was decent at the time, and yeah, noise cancellation tech was pretty decent at the time. So I'll put this here. I think I'll put all the Bose and Sony headphones right around this tier, because I feel like the sound signature isn't necessarily to my liking now. Like back then, I guess I wasn't too much of an audiophile, so I didn't care too much about the sound signature back then. But nowadays, I'm a little bit more discerning, so I don't really like the sound signature of Sony and Bose headphones anymore. But hey, at the time they came out, they were fine. Good noise cancellation and decent sound quality for the time. Okay, also going in this tier is the Sony 1000XM3s, which I had for a while. I had these for like 3 years or 4 years at least. So I owned these for quite a while, and yeah, they were pretty nice wireless noise canceling headphones. Now the reason why I'm putting in this tier is because basically as I expanded my audiophile preferences, I realized that the tuning on these were not very good, actually. This is the same thing as the Bose, actually. So now going between these and like Focals and Sennheisers, you can kind of hear the difference. Like, okay, Sony, to the typical consumer, they might think Sony sound really good, right? But after going between this and other brands, now I come to realize that Sony and Bose are pretty similar. So yeah, this sounds just like the Bose, actually. It's got bloated bass, it's got elevated treble, it's got a V shape. It sounds like it's meant for like kind of dynamic listening, like electronic tracks and stuff like that. It sounds good. For the average person, they're not going to care, right? Because they don't focus on this. On the average person is not going to care about graphs and stuff like that, right? But as I become an audiophile, I kind of do the comparisons, and I realize, okay, Sony's actually not that great. It's okay, you know. Like I'm putting in this tier again because of the superb noise cancellation technology that Sony has, which is right up there with Bose. So yeah, like I said, Bose had basically Bose was dominating noise cancellation technology for a while. And then starting somewhere, I would say late 2010s, Sony comes in and they match Bose in terms of noise cancellation tech. So these are just as good as the Bose, I would say, in terms of noise cancellation. And sound quality, okay, you can maybe say is a little bit more detailed, and okay, that's about it. But it's not like a significant difference. Like some people might say, oh, I have Sony, it's so much better than Bose. Not really. It's the sound quality, like I go back and forth, okay, Bose, Sony, right? I've compared all these wireless headphones. It's not that much difference. Like, okay, you might say Sony's sound quality is a little bit better, but it's not enough for me to put into a higher tier, basically. It's in this tier though because it's got great tech. So anyways, as Bose goes, Sony will go as well. Okay, next up, Bose Noise Cancelling 700. These have a different design than the Quiet Comforts, but honestly, it's not too different in terms of the technology or the sound. Again, you got the bloated bass, you got the V-shaped sound signature, you got kind of the mainstream type of tuning. I would say mainstream, like Harman-ish. Yeah, like I don't really like this type of tuning, to be honest. That's why I don't put this type of headphone into higher tiers. Yes, sound quality is a little bit improved from the Quiet Comfort 35s, but it's not like the competition hasn't caught up, you know? Like, when I rank these headphones, I also had to rank them in terms of comparison to the competition, right? And compared to the competition has caught up and exceeded Bose. You know, that's the thing. So yeah, you could say the sound quality is a little bit better than the Quiet Comforts in terms of detail. The tuning's about the same. Noise cancellation tech has improved a bit, but it was already good to begin with. So, I mean, noise cancellation was always good for Bose. So, if you improve on it, sure, it's an improvement, but it's still like really, really good to begin with, you know? So not too much improvement they could have done there, but just, it's obviously great in terms of noise cancellation. I don't like the sound signature. It's a little bit better detailed than the Quiet Comforts. Overall, competition has caught up anyways, so this still goes in the same tier as the Quiet Comforts. Okay, Sony 1000 XM5s, the newer ones. Yeah, not too much different here. Like I said, when these were released, the competition has just caught up. And as a result, I'm just going to put this in the same tier. Also, the price increased a bit as well. So basically, the Bose Noise Cancelling 700s is to the Quiet Comfort 35s as the 1000 XM5s are to 1000 XM3s. Yeah, like basically it's a minor improvement on the XM3s, I guess, in terms of the detail. So a little bit better sound quality. The sound signature is still the same. You still got that kind of bloated bass V shape that the mainstream consumers like. Noise cancellation is even better. So yeah, sure, that technology has improved, but it was already pretty good on the XM3s, right? But of course, the XM5s do have better noise cancellation. But then the noise cancelling 700s, I feel, has really good noise cancellation too. So I put this on the same tier because, yeah, like 1000 XM3s, okay, slightly better sound quality than the Quiet Comfort 35s, but in the end, not too much difference. So I put them in the same tier, and then similar noise cancellation tech. Okay, noise cancelling 700 versus the 1000 XM5s. Again, pretty minor difference in my opinion. Sure, some people may say 1000 XM5s sound a little bit better, but honestly, they're almost the same headphone. Like, Bose, great noise cancellation. Sony, great noise cancellation. Bose, kind of a bloated bass, kind of V-shaped sound signature. Sony, kind of bloated bass, V-shaped sound signature. Like, okay, you could say Sony has a little bit more detail, but it's not like a lot. It's like maybe like marginal in my opinion. So I put Bose and Sony always on the same tier for me. Like in terms of these wireless headphones, they're just kind of neck and neck competing against each other in my opinion. Okay, next another Bose. I'm gonna put all the Bose and Sony stuff essentially in this tier because I think they're just so similar to each other, honestly. Okay, the Ultra Quiet Comforts, the newer ones. Yeah, I tried these out too. Not too different from the noise cancelling 700s in my opinion. I mean, they have a different design. They fold up. Okay, that's the biggest difference. I mean, sound signature, pretty similar. You got the V-shape again, you got the bloated bass again. Noise cancellation, superb, you know, it's the same story. 1000 XM5s, pretty similar to the Ultra Quiet Comforts in my opinion. So yeah, it's pretty much a toss-up between the two. I mean, sure, the Ultra Quiet Comforts, they might sound a little bit better than noise cancellation 700s, but then they just kind of equal the 1000 XM5s. So basically, the choice is 1000 XM5 or Ultra Quiet Comfort. They're almost the same headphone. I would actually go with Ultra Quiet Comfort if you care about portability, because at least this one folds up and the 1000 XM5s don't. So yeah. But yeah, other than the folding up and the different design, I don't think it's all too different from the noise cancelling 700s. Maybe slightly improved sound quality, but it's very, very marginal again. Not enough for me to put it into a different tier. So I would say this is pretty close to the 1000 XM5s. If you like 1000 XM5s or Ultra Quiet Comforts, it's really kind of a toss-up. I would actually go Ultra Quiet Comforts because it folds up. So that's the main difference. Otherwise, you're getting great noise cancellation tech, and if you like that V-shaped, you know, type of sound signature with lots of bass, you'll like it. So that's why I'll put in this tier. It's not my thing in terms of tuning. Okay, also in the C tier, I'm going to put the Dan Clark Audio Aeon Closed X. So yeah, these are a collaboration that Dan Clark did with Massdrop. $500. It's a decent value, but the thing is, I prefer the closed version better, honestly. And for some interesting reason, this is actually very, very interesting that Dan Clark, I feel like I've tried a bunch of their headphones already. I always feel like the closed back versions actually sound better than the open back versions. You know, it's kind of like opposite of traditional reasoning, right? You usually think the open back version sounds better, right? But no, I think for Dan Clark, their closed versions actually sound better and are better tuned. So the open back version, no, I don't like it as much as the closed back. It just, the bass is a little bit too rumbly and it's too boosted up to me. So yeah, it gets a little bit too bloated and muddy for me, you know. That's the problem. It kind of overshadows the other frequencies. Or I feel like the treble is great, the mids are there, but the bass kind of is a little bit too bloated on this. And yeah, I don't know. I don't like the tuning as much as on the closed back. So overall, I think these are still okay. They're decent, but I feel like this better better open backs you can get for that price point. You know, actually, personally, I know this is like not a popular opinion. I would even go for the Beyerdynamic DT1998 Pros over this, because I don't feel like that one has bloated bass, but I feel like this one does. So, yeah. Anyways, this is just kind of for my ears, you know. Anyways, other people might have different opinions. I know it's not a bad headphone by any means. I just prefer the tuning on the closed back version better. Okay, next is the Master and Dynamic MW60s. I had these not for very long. I think I had them for a few months. They definitely look really nice, just like other Master and Dynamic products. They're designed with this kind of luxury feeling to it, kind of like Bang & Olufsen actually, but I feel like, yeah, just like Bang & Olufsen, I feel like, okay, they're a little bit overpriced for what they are. But these are fine. I mean, the Master and Dynamic products are generally tuned well, I think. Like, they're fairly balanced in terms of tuning. They got a slight V shape to them, not too much. Like, the bass isn't too bloated like a Sony or a Bose. So generally, the tuning is pretty good, actually. I never had any issue with tuning with Master Dynamic products. The only thing is, like, okay, it could sound a little bit more detailed and everything. But yeah, I just feel like, okay, for the price you're paying for this one, $550, it's like Bang & Olufsen pricing, you know, it's fairly expensive. Yeah, so I think that's what makes me want to put it on this tier, is like, there's nothing actually wrong with the actual sound of it. I just feel like you're paying a little bit, yeah, a little bit too much probably for what you're getting out of it. Yeah, the tuning is fine. I just feel like, okay, probably you can bet you know, a little bit better for that price if you just look in terms of you know, detail and something like that. But overall, I can't fault it, you know, really too much. I do like the physical buttons as well. So I feel like overall these are a decent pair of wireless headphones. You know, they're just kind of on the expensive side for wireless headphones. That's it. Okay, so next up, another pair of Master and Dynamics, the MW65s. These are the noise cancellation versions of the MW60s essentially. The price is actually a little bit lower, to be honest, $500 versus $550 at retail. The design is pretty similar. I mean, it's a little bit different, but roughly Master and Dynamic designs are similar to each other. But they don't really need to change up the design too much, because honestly, they look pretty good. They have this nice, like, vintage mid-century look to them. I think they were inspired by a lot of the vintage headphones. I think vintage Grados and things like that. But anyways, yeah, they look pretty nice. Noise cancellation is not that great. Yeah, it's just kind of mid-tier in terms of noise cancellation. Not like terrible, but not great either. Definitely not at the Sony, Bose, Apple level. In terms of sound quality, it's pretty much the MW60s, like I mentioned. So pretty decent, you know. They didn't have to change the sound too much, because the MW60s are already, I think, fairly well balanced. Not the most detailed. You can probably get better from like Sennheiser and some other brands, or Focals for sure, are another competitor at this price point now. Yeah, not the best sounding, but like, they're okay. You know, the sound quality is okay. Well balanced and decent amount of detail. Not the best. I think probably around the same level as Bang & Olufsen's. Yeah, actually they're a little bit cheaper than Bang & Olufsen's, because Bang & Olufsen's are even more expensive. So yeah, I'll put this in the C tier, because I feel like these are okay. You know, they're decent pickup, but they're not going to be like extremely like above the competition or anything, because they're not. Okay, so next up is the Sennheiser HD650s, and some people might say, wow, you have it pretty low, because these are kind of like a legendary, iconic headphone for some audiophiles. Yeah, for me, I just didn't really like it all that much. Like, some people say the HD600s are the better one, like more detailed and stuff, but yeah, for me, HD650s just don't really hit it for me. Like, I never tried 600s actually, but with 650s, I was kind of expecting a lot, because these are so talked about, but yeah, I think the problem with these ones is, well, first, like, let's talk about the tuning. It's fairly neutral. As people would know, the 650 has a very neutral type of tuning. So it's very balanced. You don't get too much bass, You get too much treble. You get a little bit like a forward mids just because it's so balanced, but very, very nice reference neutral sounding headphone, okay? Great for audiophiles who want to listen to music the way it's meant to be heard. The problem with this is that the lack of detail. It definitely sounds a little bit veiled, and they call this the Sennheiser veil, right? Yeah, it has definitely a bit of a veil to it. Soundstage is decent. It's not like especially wide, given that it's open back, but yeah, it's decent. But yeah, I just can't get over that veil. I like to hear my music kind of in more clarity, and I just think that for a headphone like this is really like, they've been selling this for like over 20 years, 25 years or something, and yeah, it's still priced kind of relatively high in comparison to the modern competition. I mean, just get a pair of Hi-Fi-Man's Edition XS or Sundaras and you can kind of feel the difference, right? Like, the competition's caught up, man. Like, I don't think Sennheiser should be pricing this as much as it should be, because I honestly think the competition is caught up. Okay, back when it was first released, maybe it was amazing, but nowadays, I just think there's better headphones at the price point with more detail that you don't have this kind of veil with. Yeah, it's still good for a neutral leaning headphone. It just has that veil, which I don't like. Next up is the Grell OAE ones. These are a collaboration done with Drop with the original designer of the HD650s and HD800s, Alex Grell. So yeah, I mean, I got pretty excited. I think a lot of audiophiles got excited because Alex Grell is a legendary name in headphone design, because he made some of the most revered headphones, the HD650s and 800s, and 820s as well, but people don't talk about 820s as much. Yeah, so he's kind of a legendary headphone designer, and kind of people got curious about this one. I think it's priced at around $400. Yeah, honestly, to me, this sounds pretty close to the HD650s, or not too far off from it. Like, it does have a kind of neutral-ish type sound signature, and also has a Sennheiser veil, unfortunately. So, yeah, when I listened to these, I was kind of disappointed. You know, I was expecting, wow, Alex Grell, you know, he designed the HD800s. Those are legendary headphones. Well, yeah, these are not going to be like the HD800s. I mean, how can they be, right? They're much cheaper. Yeah, I mean, build quality is good, as you would expect from, you know, German designer. But yeah, unfortunately, these sound pretty close to the 650s for me, maybe too close. So it has like neutral balance type of tuning reference-ish, but again, has that veil. I can't get over that veil. It just doesn't sound detailed enough for me. Soundstage also didn't really sound as open as maybe because I was listening to, like, you know, the equivalent Hi-Fi-Man's Edition XS and stuff, but yeah, it just didn't sound like that open for me. So a little bit of a disappointment in my opinion. But hey, for people who like the HD650s, you might like the OAE ones. Okay, next up, the Audio-Technica WP900s. They retail for $650. So I would consider this like a mid-range-ish Audio-Technica headphone. Yeah, a lot of people, I think, like these because of the portable size. It's fairly portable, actually, for a high-end headphone. Usually you have these, you know, full-size headphones in the upper end that are, like, way too big. But these ones are fairly portable, actually, and yeah, you can easily wear them outside. They also look really nice too with that flamed maple wooden back there. So they definitely look really nice, and they're portable. The issue is the sound quality. I think is not really up to par for me. They sound a bit boxy, maybe because of the size. And yeah, if you check the tuning, basically it doesn't have much bass. So yeah, not much bass response out of these. You get a little bit forward mid-range and a little bit of increased elevated treble, because that's what Audio-Technica is like. Especially for their higher end stuff, they generally tend to make it very bright. So yeah, not really the type of tuning that I like. I would like to have kind of it's a little bit too peaky in the treble, a little bit too tinny sounding, boxy sounding. And yeah, I would like to have increased bass. I think the bass is a little bit too lean on these ones as well. So yeah, not for me. I know it has its fans, you know, it has its own fan base, but to me, I didn't like the WP900s that much. It looks good though. Yeah, I think Audio-Technica's wooden headphones all look really great, but sound is, yeah, different story. Okay, the Audio-Technica A900s, these are actually the very first pair of over-ear headphones that I had that were kind of reasonably high-end. They were priced originally at $250 US. Yeah, I think the first time I came to the US, and I think this is the first pair of kind of, you know, decently expensive over-ear headphones that I got. Yeah, and it's okay, you know. It's very, very comfortable. They're big. They're kind of I use them for like studio monitoring, even though they don't really have a flat signature. They're a little bit V-shaped, but it's fine, you know, for me at the time. So yeah, for like the thing I was using it for was like mostly as a studio monitoring headphone. Very, very comfortable. I don't know why Audio-Technica doesn't use this design in their high-end headphones. It's extremely comfortable. But yeah, yeah, it's a closed back. It was okay. The sound was pretty decent at the time, you know, a little bit V-shaped, but overall, pretty decent sound quality. So I actually think Audio-Technica, they do their best stuff in the lower end, to be honest. That's why a lot of people like the M50X, right? Which I haven't actually tried. But instead of the M50X, my entry into Audio-Technica stuff was the A900s, as you see here. And yeah, pretty decent for the time. So I'll put in this tier here. Okay, so Focal Elegias. Yeah, I had these for maybe like almost a year. They were my main closebacks for a while, actually. Yeah, what can I say about these is they originally retail for $700. I would not pay that much. I don't think it's worth that much. I got these at a discount. The sound quality, as you would expect from Focal, is very good. So the thing about the sound quality is that with Focal, they have their own, I would say, house sound. And the Focal house sound, to me, for most of their headphones, not every one of their headphones, but for most of their headphones, they tend to favor a very kind of neutral type of sound signature. So the bass is not very elevated with most of Focal headphones, nor is the treble. So I think they focus more on the mids, because when you kind of make it flatter and more neutral, you kind of elevate the mids, because yeah, you don't push up the bass and treble as much. So the mids are a bit more forward, and treble and bass don't have as much quantity. Because of that, the neutral type of sound signature, a lot of people will find Focals kind of like boring, and the Elegias do kind of sound like that because they're kind of neutral-ish. So they kind of sound boring, honestly. I mean, the mids got a lot of detail, just like most Focals do, but just kind of sounds boring. That's it. So I guess they all appeal to people who want just kind of like if you want that neutral type of frequency response in a closed back, and you like to have the Focal type of mid detail, then yeah, these are good. I still wouldn't pay the full price for them, but if you can get them at a discount, they're good. But just, yeah, at the price, the asking price of $700 and kind of this type of boring tuning, yeah, it's not really for me. So anyways, I'll put in the C tier. It's okay. For some people, it might be good, but not for me. Okay, the Meze 109 Pros. Yeah, these are the only pair of Mezes that I've owned. I've tried the Elites as well, but I haven't tried the Empyreans or the Empyrean 2s, unfortunately. But yeah, the Meze 109 Pros retail for $900. I would say they're a little bit overpriced for the sound quality that you're getting. To be honest, I think more of the money went to the build quality. As you guys can see, it's a really beautiful looking headphone. You got that really nice, like kind of wooden type of veneer there, and it is open back, so you can see those grills there. Very beautiful looking headphone. I mean, Meze's headphones have always been really nicely designed, and I do think that they've put up probably a little bit more money in the design than the sound quality, to be honest. Sound quality is okay. I mean, it's not actually great for the price, to be honest. The tuning's fine. It's very well balanced. It's got like a nice little slight V-shaped type of tuning that most people will like. But it just, you don't get the detail and definition, and even the sound stage is not that great compared to the other headphones in the price range, right? So if you get like a Focal Clear, for example, that will have more detail. If you get a HiFiMAN Aria Stealth, that just beats it in pretty much every category except for build quality. Yeah, so there's other better headphones you can probably get in the price range. But yeah, overall, for what it is, I think I'll put it in this tier just because it's not like, I don't think it's like bad, but it's just a little bit overpriced. And I mean, people like it mainly is the sound quality is inoffensive. Like, most people will enjoy it because it is like that slight little V-shaped type of tuning that's not too much, doesn't push up anything too much, and doesn't recess anything too much. So most people will enjoy that balanced type of tuning and sound signature. So yeah, I can't say it's not exactly the most fun or energetic headphone, but it's not boring sounding either. and the looks appeal to a lot of people, I think. Yeah, it's just not the most detailed. It doesn't have a lot of soundstage, but overall it's okay. I mean, that's why I'll put it in this tier here. Okay, so the Fostex TH900s. These are Fostex's flagship headphones. Fostex is a Japanese headphone company, for those of you guys don't know. Yeah, they used to make a lot of OEM drivers for other companies, but then they created their own brand. Actually they're called Foster, I guess. But Fostex is their headphone brand. Anyways, the TH900 is their flagships with that nice Urishi lacquer, which I do like. You know, I do like the appearance of this headphone. Yeah, but the thing is, for the price that you're paying for it, which is kind of a flagship level price, right? Like $1,500, $1,600. Yeah, you better be getting like a really, really good sounding headphone. And the thing is, this headphone is way too specialized. It's a very V-shaped tuning. People call the Fostex TH900 kind of a bass cannon, like a bass head headphone, in which it is. It's like a very V-shaped tuning. You got a lot of bass and a lot of treble as well, and the mids are recessed. And the bass is good quality, don't get me wrong. It is very good quality bass. It has a lot of slam and impact. That's why a lot of people still like this headphone. For bass heads, it is a really good headphone because it's got so much slam and the bass has really good quality to it, a lot of good texture. But it's just not for me. Yeah, for me, I guess I don't like to have this type of sound signature, honestly. I don't like to have super elevated bass. I'm not a bass head. So hey, this headphone is for bass heads. If you're a bass head, then this will be a higher tier headphone for you guys. But for me, because I think my preferred sound signature is probably like slight V-shaped with, actually I like W-shaped, yeah. Like give me a W shape with like nice forward mids and vocals and a decent amount of bass and treble, but not too much of it. So yeah, that's my preferred sound signature. This is just way too V-shaped for me, unfortunately. It's got way too much bass for me. But I know for bass heads who like to have that slam and texture, this is a good headphone to try. But yeah, I think this is it's also really expensive, so I cannot say that. This is like a flagship level bass head headphone essentially. Okay, so next is the KEF Muse 7, and yes guys, KEF makes headphones. Some of you guys may be surprised to know that. So KEF is a pretty well-renowned speaker manufacturer from the UK. They normally don't make headphones. They normally make high-end speakers, but they do make the MU7, the wireless noise-canceling headphone that I tested out, and it's fine. Again, I don't think it's really necessarily above average in any aspect. I mean, I thought the tuning was okay. It's a little bit like more leaner than your typical Sony or Bose for sure. It doesn't have that V-shaped sound signature. It's a little bit more balanced sounding. I think that actually the mids are a little bit forward on it, to be honest, which I don't mind. I think I like the forward mids on it. Noise cancellation isn't very good. I mean, that's not really what KEF does anyways. You wouldn't expect them to have good noise cancellation. Touch controls are there. Interesting design for sure. I mean, this kind of looks like something that KEF would do for their higher end loudspeakers, is have this kind of interesting design, right? But yeah, overall, kind of below average text, and just I like the mid-range on it. I think the mids are actually pretty decent, but other than that, nothing else jumps out at me. Like, it doesn't really have much bass or treble, like not really good bass or treble, to be honest. But just yeah, I would say just a pretty decent okay mids to me is there for the KEF Muse 7. So again, not bad. I don't think it's like the Bang & Olufsen HX in terms of like terrible value or anything, nor do I think it's as bad as the Audi's Maxwell, yeah, or the Technics 800. It's not like that bad, because I do like the mids on it. But other than that, that's the only thing I can say about it. Is like, oh, okay, cool, interesting design, and good mids. That's it. I can't say anything else about it. So yeah, I'll just put it in C tier. Okay. The Bang & Olufsen H95s. So these were Bang & Olufsen's flagship wireless noise cancellation headphones, and they're above the HX, actually, believe it or not. HX was already pretty expensive. H95 retailed for, guess this, $1,000 US. Yeah, that's right. They retailed for $1,000 US. That's quite expensive for a wireless headphone, one of the most expensive on the market. That's part of the reason why I'm putting it in this tier. I mean, in terms of value, I just cannot put it much higher than this because you're talking about $1,000 for a wireless headphone. I mean, that's kind of crazy. They look very luxurious, of course, as you would expect from Bang & Olufsen. So some of the price, of course, went to that. Sound quality is quite good. It's one of the best sounding wireless headphones on the market, as it should be for that price, right? But is it like the best by like a big amount? No, it's not, right? You can find the Focal Bathys. You can find the Bowers & Wilkins PX8. Even the AirPods Max. I don't think that the H95 is so much better sounding than those. So yeah, in terms of sound quality, it is one of the best wireless headphones on the market, but it's not so far ahead of some other options that are cheaper, actually. And noise cancellation is better than on the HX. They improved it. Still not up to Bose or Sony level, but they improved the noise cancellation. So that's, you know, H95 does have better noise cancellation than HX. But yeah, I can't put it higher than this tier because it's just way too expensive, really overpriced. At the same time, it does have good sound quality, so I'm not going to put in the D tier, but yeah, that's basically where I'm putting this in the C tier here. It's got great sound quality and better noise cancellation than their previous efforts. At the same time, it's still pretty overpriced. So, yep, putting it here. Okay, so the Beyerdynamic T1 second generation. These were Beyerdynamic's flagship headphones that retail for $1,000 US. Yeah, I had these for about 2 years, so I'm quite acquainted with them. It's a very interesting headphone, you know. The thing is, I can't really put it at a higher tier because I know that this headphone is not going to appeal to everyone. It's very much like kind of a specialist headphone. So basically, if you like warm, organic sounding mids and vocals, then this is very good for that. But other than that, it doesn't really do anything else really well. That's the thing. It's like you need a lot of power to drive it to because it's a 600 ohm headphone. So you need to have like a really like powerful either like digital audio player or desktop amp. So you need like a pretty good headphone amplifier to drive this thing because the 600 ohms, right, high impedance. Once you push that this headphone open, then you can tell that it has some pretty nice, warm, organic sounding mids and vocals. At the same time, it's not like, I can't say it's worth the price either because for $1,000 is for that. I'm not sure because the Audi's LCD2, you can also get that as well, but you also get like at least bass and treble presence with that, which you don't get with the T1s. And kind of the Sennheiser HD 599s have that sort of as well, but at a much lower price. So yeah, this thing really only does one thing well, which is the warm organic mids and vocals. So decent soundstage if you think about that, just around the mids. But other than that, doesn't really have much bass presence. Despite being a Beyerdynamic, this is also kind of interesting because it's not a bright one. So most Beyerdynamic headphones are known for being bright. This is not really that bright. To me at least. The treble is like not too harsh or peaky on this one. It's actually a little bit rolled off, which is probably why it sounds warm to me. This one, the only thing I note is that, okay, it has some pretty nice warm, organic sounding vocals and mid-range. That's about it. I can't really say anything else about this headphone. For the price, I don't think it's worth $1,000. So yeah, I had to put that in this tier here because it does something well. It's just, other aspects it's not that good and it's still kind of overpriced. So by the way, these are the second generations. The third generation T1s I don't think are even as good as these ones because the third generation, it really pushes up the bass too much. So unless you really like your extra warm bass, I wouldn't recommend the third generations. I would honestly put the third generations in the D tier. So yeah, I don't think the third generation is really that good, but the second generation, yeah, I'll put it here. Okay, so the Audio-Technica AP2000 Ti's, which retail for $1,250 US. I thought these were very interesting headphones. Again, this is another one of those specialist headphones. So I would consider this and the Beyerdynamic T1 and the Fostex TH900 all kind of specialist headphones that are kind of good at basically just one thing. That's why I can't really put it at a much higher tier because Honestly, yeah, it's just good at one thing. In this case, the AP2000 Ti, it's really good for treble heads. So if you like your treble, then this is one of the best headphones for that. It has a lot of treble extension. It has super bright, extended treble. It has very, yeah, the airy presence that you get out of treble is pretty good out of this one. So this is definitely for treble heads. It's got very airy, extended, pushed up treble. So if you like your treble, then AP2000 Ti is for you. Bass, not too much of it. I mean, it's got it, but it's just not going to stand out in any way. Mids, it's okay. Yeah, soundstage, again, I think it's really centered around the treble here. So this thing has a lot of treble energy. It's super bright. So if you like your treble, if you like your hi-hats, you know, sounding like they drop down on you, then definitely pick up the AP2000 Ti. Again, very specialist headphone. I don't think it's going to appeal to really anyone but treble heads, which is why it goes in this tier. Also, it's incredibly expensive for this kind of thing. But yeah, it's a very specialist headphone, I would say. Audio-Technica is interesting. They make very specialist headphones as you go up the price range. But yeah, this one's definitely for treble heads. If you're into your treble, definitely, I think this is the one to pick up. Okay, the Headphone 2. So this is by a company called Head Audio, based in Germany, I think, and they put air motion transformers inside of these headphones. One of the only companies to do that. So that makes the technology inside these headphones kind of unique. However, honestly, it was a bit disappointing. You know, these cost $2,000 US, so they're not cheap at all. And yeah, I guess I was expecting more. You know, it has some unique driver technologies inside of it. The soundstage isn't that wide for a $2,000 headphone, to be honest. Imaging, same thing. The frequency response, well, it doesn't have too much bass, especially not much sub bass. The mids are there. They're decent. The treble extension is there and decent treble as well, but it's just not what you expect from a $2,000 headphone. Like the detail, the resolution, and the imaging and soundstage is what you would expect maybe from $1,000, but not from $2,000 headphone. So honestly, I just found this to be kind of underwhelming for the price, to be honest. So yeah, anyways, that's my opinion. I guess I was expecting more from the air motion transformers, you know, because it's kind of unique driver technology and stuff. But yeah, honestly, it ended up being kind of underwhelming for the price. Like this performs more like a $1,000 headphone, not $2,000. So anyways, not saying it's bad or anything. Like if you listen to it, I just don't think it wows me the same way like yeah, like even the HU1000 would wow me actually. So I think even the HU1000 could kind of outperform this. So this is like the level of an Aria, you know, that's the thing, but it's a lot more expensive than an Aria. Okay, so this is the Meze Elite. I think these are actually Meze's most expensive headphones, or one of their most expensive for sure. I think it's more expensive than the Empyrean. Empyrean, I believe, was like $3,000. This is like $4,000. Anyways, I'm putting this in C tier because honestly, this is another underwhelming headphone for me. I tried it alongside all these other flagship headphones. Just the Elite didn't really do it for me. Like the sound signature, I think what they did was they took the 109 Pro, which has a very balanced type of sound signature that most people would like a soft V shape, I guess. So it has a decent amount of bass and treble, and they kind of increased the resolution, the soundstage, and clarity and everything, like what you would expect for a more expensive headphone. But it's still not to the level of a $4,000. Like, yes, obviously it sounds better than a 109 Pro, and it should for $4,000. But it doesn't sound like I'm comparing this against you know, Audeze CRBNs and Dan Clark Carinas and Stax, Focal Utopia. You know, that's the level I'm comparing this to, and it doesn't match that in detail. I know this is a closed back, but yeah, it is closed back, right? Yeah, but anyways, I don't think it matches the level of other $4,000 headphones is what I'm saying. I think it's definitely a bit overpriced still. So yeah, I think Meze, again, I feel like their products are still like a little bit overpriced. I think that the level of detail and soundstage and everything probably competes better with a $2,000 headphone, not like a $4,000 one. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the tuning. Like if you like your warm bass, this one does have warm bass on it. So yeah, it has this like, soft V shape, so it does have like a slightly elevated bass, and I believe I felt like a little bit of a warmer sound signature from this, which means that the treble's a little bit rolled off and the bass is a little bit elevated. But it's fine. It'll satisfy most people who like to listen to more dynamic sounding tracks. But it's the fact that the detail and resolution just doesn't really match up for the $4,000 level. I think it's more like a $2,000 level headphone, not $4,000. Okay, the Audeze CRBNs. These are Audeze's electrostatic headphones. So I would consider this kind of like a co-flagship. They have the LCD5s, which are also around the same price actually. So anyways, I never tried the LCD5s, but I did try the CRBNs when I was in Tokyo. And honestly, kind of underwhelming. I feel this way about a lot of Audeze headphones actually. Yeah, kind of underwhelming, probably because I was comparing this with, so the other electrostatics I had there was the Dan Clark Carinas and the Stax SR009, and these definitely were not on the same level as those. Yes, it does have some of the electrostatic, you know, kind of velvety, silky sound signature that electrostatics do have. But I didn't like the tuning on it, honestly. The soundstage wasn't like that wide as I expected, and the tuning was just meh, you know. It's very like kind of neutral-ish in flat frequency response, I would say. So not much bass lift, and the treble doesn't really have much of a lift either, which makes it kind of like almost mid-forward, but then the upper mids are kind of dip down a bit. So overall, I would consider this a little bit mid-forward, not much bass or treble elevation at all. So it definitely feels more like a kind of like a boring listen, to be honest. So yeah, it's not that interesting of a listen to me. The detail and resolution are there, but they're not at the level of, I would still say like Stax and the Carina impressed me a lot more. So you got to look at the competition here, right, at this price point, because that's how I'm ranking these things too. I'm looking at the competition. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't think the CRBNs match up to the competition level for a $4,500 electrostatic. I just think that at this price range, the Stax and the Dan Clark Carinas just kind of beat it. And if you want to go for even dynamic driver headphones, right, you can look at the Utopias, which I think beat it in what it set out to do, which is mid-detail. And then if you want to go for planar magnetics, I think the Susvara beats it as well. If you're talking about just, yeah, overall detail and soundstage, I would pick Susvara over this as well. So anyways, yep, I didn't feel like this was worth the price, especially like compared to the other electrostatics on the market at that price range. Okay, so starting off with the B tier, which I think are kind of above average in terms of their tuning or sound quality or value. This is the Sennheiser Momentums, the first Sennheiser Momentums. I'm not talking about the wireless versions. I'm talking about the original wired one that originally came out in the early 2010s. So I actually owned these, I think, starting from around 2014. And I owned them for about 2 years. It's kind of my main headphone, my main over-ear headphones at that time. And these are actually quite good for the time. I mean, the sound signature is not exactly neutral, like, you know, it's not like the HD650s or HD800s, but also it's not really too bassy either. It's not like extremely V-shaped. It's just got like a really balanced type of sound, like a slight V-shape is what I'm referring to. So you got a little bit of a bass push, a little bit of a treble push, not too much of it. Just a really nice balanced sound. And sound quality and soundstage were pretty good for the time, you know, $350 at the time. And compared to other full-size headphones that you can get around that price range at the time, I think it was pretty solid. I think the only other competitors I think that would probably put on this level at that time would probably be the Philips Fidelio X2s or something like that. Yeah, I never tried the Philips Fidelio. I heard good things about them, but yeah, I think the Sennheiser Momentums are pretty good for the price for that time. You have to remember that this is the early 2010s when it came out, right? So yeah, at the time that it was released, it was yeah, actually one of the best sounding consumer over-ear headphones of the time, and yeah, I enjoyed using them for like 2 years. Okay, so next is the Audio-Technica R70X. And these are kind of studio reference closed back headphones. Basically, if you guys are familiar with the Sennheiser HD600s, which are kind of legendary in the audiophile community, these are pretty similar in terms of tuning. Like it's very like neutral. You're not going to get much bass out of these, and treble is kind of rolled off as well. So it's not like a V-shaped sound signature. It's very much so like kind of a flatter neutral response. The upper mids are pushed up a bit, which gives vocals more of a shine. And yeah, I would say it's kind of like an improved HD600. Although I put HD650 in the C tier because I didn't like that it was almost like too neutral, a little bit too veiled, and the soundstage wasn't even that wide. Well, the R70X I think for me, I like it better than the HD650s by a bit, because while the sound is still kind of veiled, in fact, so that's one thing I don't like about the R70X, but you do get that upper mid push, so similar to the HD600s. That's something that improves on the HD650s, by the way. So you guys can tell maybe I like the HD600s better than the 650s. But the R70X takes the HD600 sound signature as well, so you have that upper mid push, but you also have better staging as well. So the sound stage is more wider than the HD600s or 650s. So in fact, I think this is just a better 600 or 650. If you guys are looking at HD650s or HD600s, just get the R70X instead. I think it's just better. Like, it's got fairly similar type of tonality, but it's just a wider soundstage, really. So you get that upgrade over it. And plus, in my opinion, it's more comfortable as well. This is one of Audio-Technica's, in their lower end, they tend to be more comfortable. And I think these are very comfortable headphones as well. So yeah, I think of this as just a better 600 or 650. Okay, so next is the Beyerdynamic DT1990 Pros, which I owned for about 2 years before, and I really like these headphones. I know there's some audiophiles that don't like them, but for me, I do like them. I know the retail price of $600. Yeah, that's definitely a lot, and these are Beyerdynamic's second most expensive headphones. I believe it's right under the T1 and T5. But in fact, I think more people will like these than the T1, T5, because unless you, yeah, basically T1s, I already talked about them in my C tier, like unless you really like those warm organic mids, and then that's it. Yeah, the DT1990 Pros are kind of more, they definitely sound more fun and exciting, I would say. Definitely more of an engaging headphone to listen to. The T1s are just kind of their own thing with the vocal mids and everything. Like, sure, they're really good for that. But for cheaper price, these ones are kind of more exciting and fun to listen to. So if you look at the graph for this one, if you use it with the balanced pads, it can definitely sound a little bit more neutral, although still bright. But I use these with the more balanced pads, not the analytical. I use it with the balanced pads, and then I get a slight V shape out of it, and then it's pretty fun and exciting to listen to. You know, some people find these bright or harsh. I don't really find them too bright or harsh for me. And they're built really well. They're very comfortable, just like a lot of Beyerdynamic headphones are. And yeah, overall, I just find this, yeah, very decently detailed. And if you use the balance pads with it, then they're really great for fun, energetic music. So you get a nice, dynamic, lively type of sound out of them. So yeah, overall, yeah, I really like these. Like, if you use the analytical pads, then you can actually use them for studio monitoring. But then if you want to actually have some fun with them, then you use the balance pads, and then yeah, they really work well for energetic tracks, I think. So yeah, I really enjoyed these actually. And they can be hard to drive depending on which version you get. I think I got the 250 ohm version, but yeah, in my opinion, these are probably one of Beyerdynamic's better headphones, for sure. So I like these. Up next is the AKG K712 Pros from the renowned, originally Austrian headphone company and microphone company AKG. Now they're owned by Samsung. But yeah, the K712 Pros are actually one of their most expensive headphones, even though it's actually not too expensive. You can get them for about $330 US now. And they're okay. Like, I would say, yeah, they're a little bit above average, but I mean, everything's kind of relative here. I'm still putting them in the B tier because overall, if you're looking for like a studio monitoring kind of reference style headphones, I think these are okay. The R70X would be another option, but I think the K712 Pros are fine too. The only thing about these ones is that you might feel that it is lacking a bit of bass response, but that's just because like it's trying to be like kind of a more neutral leaning headphone. That's, you know, more suitable for like studio work. It does kind of emphasize, I would say, the mids are a little bit pushed up, and then the upper mids are kind of dipped down a bit, and then the treble is there as well. Overall, I would say the sound quality is very much on par with the R70X, and the soundstage is it's good as well. I would say, yeah, overall, if you like the R70X, which I already mentioned earlier, then the K712 are pretty close to it as well. I think the R70X still more comfortable. I think the soundstage still might be a bit better on that. But the K712 Pros are another good option if you're looking for that kind of like more neutral-ish type of monitoring type of tuning, basically. It's not going to sound exciting. That's not what this is meant for. But if you're looking for, hey, a nice pair of headphones that can have a reasonably, not exactly flat, but closer to a flat frequency response with a little bit of pushed up mids and rolling off the upper treble a bit, which is, I think, fine for what it's meant to do, then yeah, you can check this one out. Yeah, pretty close to the R70X in my opinion. Okay, so the Sonos Ace. This is a wireless noise canceling headphone by the speaker company Sonos, and this is their very first headphone, I believe. And it's surprisingly good. You know, it retails for $450 US. Yes, it's on the expensive side of wireless headphones. But honestly, I was actually kind of impressed by what this is for a first effort, essentially. I would say this is kind of similar to the AirPods Max, which I actually like as well. So yeah, the Sonos and the AirPods Max have a lot of similarities. It's not quite as heavy as the AirPods Max is. Sound quality is pretty similar though, in my opinion. It's got that kind of fairly well-balanced tuning that the AirPods Max has as well. So you get that slight V shape. It's definitely not neutral, but it's also not really like heavily bass heavy either. It's just like in general a well-balanced tuning that I think that will work for most people. Kind of sliding towards Harman. You know, it's not like a crazy bass Harman or anything like that, but it's kind of like sliding towards that Harman territory, where it's good enough for most people. And yeah, decent amount of detail. I mean, for wireless headphone at least, it's definitely one of the better sounding wireless headphones I've listened to. And noise cancellation is surprisingly very good as well. I mean, considering this is a first effort by Sonos, I was kind of surprised that the noise cancellation was as good as it was. It was definitely in the upper tier of all the wireless headphones that I tested. I mean, probably similar to like Bowers or Wilkins level, which is definitely on the upper tier. Not as good as Sony or Bose or Apple, but just like right below it, you know? So yeah, overall, great good noise cancellation. Not great, but still very good. Very good noise cancellation. And balanced type of sound signature and decent amount of detail. And yeah, it's overall just got a nice clean look, just like an Apple product. So overall, yeah, if you're looking for like kind of AirPods Max, but not Apple, if you don't want to give your money to Apple, I think the AirPods Max is still a bit more expensive than, yeah, check out the Sonos Ace. I think it's a pretty decent wireless headphone, especially for a first effort. Okay, so next is the Focal Elirs, which I had for a short while. Yeah, these ones were my first Focal headphones, and they were quite impressive. They originally retailed for $1,000, which is a lot. I got it at a discount, like for like half price. Overall, they're quite well built, as you would expect from a Focal. And the sound signature is also, I would say, kind of like Focal's other headphones, especially the Clear. So the Elir came, I think, before the Clear. The Clear might have come next, but they sound like fairly similar. The difference is that Clear has a little bit more emphasis on the mids, and the Elir has a little bit more emphasis on the bass. Otherwise, they're both like kind of fairly neutral leaning with a lot of detail. So yeah, overall, yeah, I think both the Clears and the Elirs are pretty much on the same level to me anyways. It's just a matter what you prefer. The Elirs are a bit cheaper than the Clears, by the way, originally, if you look at the MSRPs. But yeah, it's really a matter of preference there. I think they're both kind of neutral leaning-ish. If you're like an audiophile that likes to hear your music the way that the artist intended with not too much coloration, then yeah, Focal headphones are generally good, but especially the Clear and Elirs. Yeah, the Elirs definitely have a little bit more focus on the bass. You're not going to get much soundstage out of it because it is a Focal and they never focus on soundstage, even though they're open backs. But yeah, if you want like a nice detailed sound and fairly like reference neutral with a little bit more emphasis on the bass, then check out the Elirs. Okay, so next is the Focal Clear Professionals. Now, I actually never really owned the Focal Clear Originals. But the Professionals I have tried before, and yeah, they're kind of like everything I said about the Elirs kind of rings true for the Professionals. They're more expensive, but they do give you even more detail than the Elirs did. So I guess you can basically think of the Clear Professionals as a nice upgrade from the Elirs. Honestly, it doesn't focus as much on the bass, and the mids are more of the Clear point. Then that's probably because it has more of a lineage towards the Clears, right? So yeah, you can think of it as basically like the Clears, but like, you know, a little bit more detail. Some people say it's a little bit more neutral than the Clears, but I thought the Clears were already pretty neutral to begin with, to be honest. Maybe a little bit more sparkling highs as well. But honestly, yeah, this is another one of those, I think, Focal Clear is a pretty popular headphone, and then they made the professional version just to kind of give Clear a nice upgrade as well. Give you a little bit more detail in the mids, even more than it already had, and maybe make it a little bit more flatter. Yeah, like professional means that it's probably going to be like even more leaner and neutral. So again, if you don't like Focal headphones and the way that it sounds because they're too lean and neutral, then this is not going to change your mind, because the Clear Professionals are also very clean, neutral, reference sounding, with the kind of focus on the mids. But if you like your detailed mids, then the Clear Professional is very good as well. Now, you're not going to get a lot of soundstage, just like with other Focals, so just keep that in mind. So yeah, I would say this headphone is for people who want like kind of a leaner type of tonality. This one definitely has leaner bass. The mids are a little bit more forward, and that's what Clear focuses on, and Clear Professional does as well. And the highs a little bit more sparkling, but not too pushed up either. Overall, nice little neutral reference headphone with a lot of detail, especially in the mids. And yeah, just be aware there isn't much soundstage with Focal headphones, so you're not going to get much soundstage out of it. But other than that, if you like your mid detail, Clear Professional is very good. Next up is another Focal, the Focal Radiance, which is a limited edition headphone that they did for Bentley. So yeah, this one looks very luxurious. I actually love the way that the Radiance looks. It's one of Focal's best looking headphones in my opinion. Retailed originally for $1,300 US. And a lot of people like the Radiance because it actually does not sound like other Focal headphones. It's tuned quite differently. Most Focal headphones like the Legia, the Clears, the Elexes, the Aleers, they all have kind of like a neutral type of flatter type of response that doesn't really emphasize like the bass or treble. It kind of emphasizes a little bit more of the mids. But the Radiance is a bit different. It's more of a Harman tuned headphone, so it's more V-shaped. And definitely I can hear this one has more of a bass response, treble pushed up a bit. It's really more of a mainstream tuning. So I think this is definitely, it's tuned more towards a mainstream type of sound signature, but it keeps the same kind of detail that you get with the other Focal headphones. So you still get your mid detail, it's just not quite as prominent as in the Clears or the Elexes. Instead, you get a nice little V-shaped sound signature, so you get a more fun, energetic type of sound. You're still not going to get much soundstage because Focal doesn't focus too much on that, but yeah, I like to think of these as basically Focal's fun headphones. I haven't heard all of Focal's headphones, right? They have the Azuris and Hadonis and stuff as well. I haven't heard those, or the Stelias. But I will say out of the Focal headphones I've tried, the Radiance is the most fun sounding. It's got that Harman tuned sound signatures. You got a lot of bass with this one. So it's probably one of the bassiest Focal headphones that I've listened to. But yeah, if you like to have a fun sounding Focal, this is the way to go. So again, not much soundstage, but you will get your fun V-shaped sound signature with this one, and not losing out on any detail as well, because you keep that Focal level of detail that you're used to. Okay, let's keep going with the Focals. So the Focal Utopia 2022s. These are the newer version of the Utopias, and these ones are, I would say, are basically like a souped up version of the Clear Pros. So you guys heard me talking about the Clear Pros already. The Utopia 2022s are like, yeah, they're like the Clear Pros on steroids, essentially. So you still keep that similar type of tuning, I would say. It's a leaning, neutral, flat reference style tuning, but with that mid detail, again, kind of pushed up. So it does feel mid forward because it is more flatter in that sense. With a little bit of treble sparkle, you're not going to get too much bass out of it. But hey, they knew that people like the Clears and the Clear Pros, so they decided to stick with that tuning. And yeah, just everything, the mid detail and the resolution, I think, is the thing I noticed about this one. It's incredibly resolving for the mids. So basically, if you love your mids and you love really resolving mids, then the Utopia 2022s are good. It's almost like the full-size headphone version of the Aroma Jewel. If you're yeah, if you guys know that what I'm talking about, this is like the full-size headphone version. Extremely detailed resolving mids is what I can say about the Utopia 2022s. Probably one of the best mids I've ever heard in a headphone, in a full size. So yeah, these are for people who really, really like their mids, essentially, because you're tuning everything a little bit more neutral and in flatter reference. When you do that, and you don't recess the mids are going to feel more pushed up and forward. And because Focal is so good at giving you the detail, especially on the mids, then that's why, yeah, this is like probably one of the best headphones on the market for experiencing vocal texture and mid texture. So yeah, if you guys like your vocals and your mids, then this is one of the end game headphones you can pick up for that. Again, not much soundstage because you never get soundstage with Focals, not even on the extremely high-end stuff. But you will get your mid detail, that's for sure. This is like an end game headphone for mid detail. Okay, so I'm not finished with the Focals yet. We have the Focal Bethese. These are Focal's first wireless noise canceling headphones. And yeah, they were very highly anticipated and hyped up by the audiophile community. I think they're definitely quite good in terms of sound quality. Like for wireless headphones, honestly, there's not too many wireless headphones that really can compete on sound quality, right? Generally, you think of Bluetooth headphones as the sound quality is not that great. Yeah. The Bethese is definitely one of the most detailed sounding wireless headphones I've tried. It's got the typical Focal sound signature. You know, maybe this one has a little bit more bass because it's a little more geared towards the mainstream consumer, the mass consumer than audiophiles, but still it's not too much of it. Like it's still reasonably kind of balanced sounding, neutral sounding. Again, it's got the same mid detail that you would expect out of Focal headphones. So yeah, overall, really nice wireless headphones. I know it's expensive. $800 is definitely one of the most expensive wireless headphones when it first came out, but you do get some of the best sound quality that I've heard in a wireless headphone. That's really it, the reason why you would buy this, because the noise cancellation isn't very good at all. It's probably some of the worst noise cancellation I've heard in a wireless headphone, unfortunately. But again, I mean, Focal is not known for that, right? So the noise cancellation isn't very good. I mean, it's there, but it's not very good noise cancellation. What you're buying these for are for the sound quality. So yeah, one of the best sounding wireless headphones I've listened to. Especially if you care about your mids, because that's what Focal is good at, is mid detail. So anyways, I'll still put this in the B tier here just because it sounds so good for a wireless headphone. Okay, so AirPods Max is next. And yeah, this is a really nice wireless headphone, actually. I'm not saying like this because I'm an Apple fanboy, because clearly I'm not. I'm saying this because objectively it is actually quite good sounding. Yeah, the sound signature is nicely tuned actually. It's got a slight V shape. It doesn't have the bass bloat. It's not super V shaped. It's not neutral. It's just got that nice kind of balanced sounding sound signature, close to Harman, I would say, that a lot of people like. So yeah. It's just got a really well balanced sound signature, I feel like. Slight V shape, I would say. And decent amount of detail. Yeah, I would say that these are actually comparable to the Sennheiser Momentum 4s, believe it or not. You know, some people like, oh, Sennheiser's, you know, this audiophile brand and Apple is the mainstream consumer brand. No, it's not like that. It's not black and white like that. Like, I actually do think the AirPods Max and Momentum 4s are very comparable to each other. However, you might say the Momentums might be like tuned a little bit towards more audiophile type of quality, a little bit more reference sounding, but I think the detail level and everything is similar between those two. And this is similar to Sonos Ace, which I already talked about. So yeah, basically it's probably one of the best sounding wireless headphones you can get on the market. Yes, it is on the expensive side, but then, you know, I think that the sound quality is quite solid and the noise cancellation is top notch, you know. This noise cancellation, it's one of the best on the market. It competes with Bose, it competes with Sony. Like, you can think of the best noise canceling technologies on the market leaders being Bose, Sony, and Apple. Like, these three are at the top. Noise cancellation is incredible on these. So if you're looking for top-notch noise cancellation tech, very, very solid sound quality and nicely balanced in terms of tuning, then AirPods Max, I think, is worth a pickup, especially if you have an iPhone, right? If you have Apple products already. Then it's much, much easier. If you have like Android, then, you know, this doesn't quite become as good of a proposition. But if you have an iPhone, it's a no-brainer. You know, get AirPods and then get AirPods Max. It's really that simple. Okay, Sennheiser Momentum 4s. As you'd expect from Sennheiser, these are one of the best sounding wireless headphones on the market. Now, it's not up to the level of the Focal Bethese. I think those still sound better. I still think Bang & Olufsen H95 and Bowers & Wilkins PX8 still sound better, but those are all much more expensive headphones. This retails for $350 US, you know, and for this price point, it's one of the best sounding headphones. And yeah, overall, I really like it. I think that the sound signature is quite good. I mean, it's fairly balanced, I would say. So definitely on the balanced side when it comes to sound signature. And yeah, noise cancellation is not great, but it's not bad either. It's just kind of in the middle. So yeah, Sennheiser has always been kind of like, not that great on noise cancellation, but it's not like terrible either. Like terrible would be like the Focal Bathys. Like that level of noise cancellation is, you might as well like, it's almost like not having it, you know. So it's not that bad, but at the same time, not going to compete with Apple, not going to compete with even Sonos actually in terms of noise cancellation, or Bowers and Wilkins. But you do get pretty decent sound quality, right? It's definitely one of the best sound quality that you experience at this price point, and fairly well balanced. I would say a little bit more neutral leaning than the AirPods Max. Not exactly flat, not as much as the Focal Bathys. I think the Focal Bathys is still more neutral-ish than the Momentum Force, but I think it's a sound that will please most everyone. It's not really that offensive in terms of signature. And yeah, overall, just a great sounding headphone at this price point. The only problem is the noise cancellation is not great, but it's okay. I mean, it's just okay noise cancellation. So yeah. Okay, so next is the DALI IO6, which is made by the Danish speaker company DALI. So I was, kind of surprised that DALI made headphones, but yeah, they do. They make a whole lineup of wireless noise cancellation headphones. So they have the IO6, and they also now have the flagship IO12s, which I haven't tested before, but supposedly they're one of the best headphones on the market for wireless. Anyways, I only tried the IO6 from their headphone lineup, and I was actually impressed by them. I know they were kind of expensive when they came out. They're like $500, but you can definitely find it cheaper now. And yeah, for the sound quality, I would say it's fairly comparable to the Sennheiser Momentum Force, actually. So they're definitely on the upper end when it comes to sound quality. Like, they're reasonably well balanced. Again, not too much bass. It's not too V-shaped or anything, but at the same time, it's not too flat or neutral. So I would put the sound quality pretty much in line with the Momentum Force. Yeah, so you get a reasonably well balanced, soft V-shape type of sound signature, and yeah, the detail and resolution is kind of similar to that level as well. Noise cancellation, again, I would say is not that great, but again, not bad either. So it's again on the same level as the Momentum Force. So overall, I put the IO6 in the same league as the Momentum Force. So yeah, I put it in the really above average sound quality for a wireless headphone. So yeah, IO6s kind of impressed me, actually. I wasn't expecting, DALI to make headphones at all, but then I saw they had a lineup of headphones, and okay, noise cancellation isn't great. Wasn't even expecting them to be great either. But sound quality is quite impressive. So yeah, I'm going to put it in this tier here. Okay, so next is the Bowers & Wilkins PX8s. So these are their flagship wireless noise canceling headphones. They have a whole lineup, and the PX8s are, yeah, they're on top. I actually got the McLaren edition, which are actually $100 more expensive than the regular edition. But the regular edition costs $700 US. It is one of the more expensive wireless headphones on the market. The sound quality is definitely there to match. You're paying a lot of money for these headphones, so the sound quality better be there. But yeah, in my opinion, I like these a lot. I had these for 2 years. I did a whole bunch of videos comparing all these different wireless headphones, and I ended up choosing the PX8s because I did really like them. First, the design. I love Bowers & Wilkins design. I think that it looks very, very sleek, premium, luxury feeling, kind of like Bang & Olufsen, like that level of luxury design and luxury materials as well. So yeah, it looks very well built. The noise cancellation is top notch. I would say just below Sony, Apple, and Bose. So yeah, you have Sony, Apple, and Bose at the top tier of noise cancellation tech. Then PX8, Bowers & Wilkins, sorry. Bowers & Wilkins tech just comes right after that. So noise cancellation is quite good, I would say. Definitely not the best, but just right below the best, right? It's like one tier below the best. So still very good noise cancellation, and the sound quality is fairly well balanced, I would say. Yeah, these are just like the, I'll go back to the Momentum Force again. These are fairly well balanced type of sound signature. Not too V-shaped. You get just a little bit of a soft V-shape. That's it. A little bit of bass push, a little bit of treble push, but overall very well balanced sound signature. And the sound quality is better than the Momentum Force because, it is actually a higher tier headphone. So yeah, overall, one of the best sounding headphones on the market, very well balanced. It doesn't quite reach up to the levels of the Bathys in terms of the the sound quality, but it's almost there. I think the Bethese are still the best sounding wireless headphones I've listened to, but these are next to the Focals, I think. Next to the Focals, the PX8s and the H95s, I think, are right after them in terms of sound quality from a wireless noise canceling headphone. So anyways, I think these are top tier in terms of noise cancellation and sound quality, but they are kind of expensive. So I think they do belong in this tier. Okay, so next is the Grado SR60X. These are the only pair of Grados I've ever owned. And I just wanted to check them out, you know, because like people have a lot of love-hate relationship, I would say, with Grado, because they're one of those brands that have their loyal following, and then you got people that hate them. So I really want to try out some Grados, and SR60X is their cheapest. Comes in at only $100, so it's a good budget pick. Overall, yeah, my feelings about this is mixed, but I'll still put it in the B tier. Here's why. First, the price is not too much. Like for $100, the sound quality that you're getting out of these is pretty good. Like you do get like a pretty decent amount of detail out of these for that sound quality. Now let's come to the bad. The sound quality is pretty much the main good thing. The bad thing, well, it's a Grado, so it's super bright. It's got treble peaks. Doesn't have a lot of bass. But yeah, it's the tuning is definitely not for everyone. I would say the Grado headphones are generally for treble heads. So if you're a treble head, you'll like the Grado series. But yeah, the tuning is definitely not for everyone because there's not a lot of bass, and there is definitely pushed up treble and treble peaks. It's open back, so you will leak sound, and it's not very comfortable because it's a Grado, and it doesn't feel very well built, unfortunately, because it's a Grado. I mean, I know they're assembled in New York and stuff, so they are durable. They just don't feel like it. They feel like they're kind of cheap feeling, even though I know they're like actually quite durable. But yeah, a bit of a mixed relationship on these, but I can't fault them too much because these are just $100, and honestly, the sound quality for $100 is quite good. Like these are definitely for over-ear, actually on-ear headphones. They're not over-ear. These are on-ear headphones. For on-ear headphones for $100, yeah, it's one of the best sounding headphones you can get under $100. The only thing is you have to like the sound signature. Like if you want to have kind of a treble forward sound signature and you don't mind having slightly uncomfortable fit, then yeah, these are fine. You know, these are actually a really good pick for under $100. But then there are people that hate this as well. So yeah, I understand why people have a love-hate relationship with Grados, for sure. But yeah, anyways, for $100, I think these are definitely one of the best sounding on-ear headphones, or even if you compare to over-ear headphones. Yeah, it's still one of the best sounding headphones you can get for this price range. You just have to like the tuning. And yeah, if you don't like treble, then you won't like it basically. But I'll still put in this tier because I just think that for the price point is still pretty good. Okay, so up next is the much praised Audeze LCD2. Very popular among the audiophile community. And this is a headphone I kind of have mixed feelings about, but ultimately I'll still put in this tier. I mean, it's actually my highest ranking Audeze headphone. Generally, I don't like most of their headphones, to be honest, but I think the LCD2 is still like kind of my favorite-ish among all the Audeze headphones. Out of the ones I've tried, I haven't tried LCD 3, 4, or 5 yet. I mean, for the price when it came out, it was definitely one of the more expensive headphones on the market for sure. But also, Audeze came out with one of the first planar magnetics on the market. Like Audeze and HiFiMan really kind of pioneered the planar magnetic market, right? So I mean, you just got to give props to HiFiMan and Audeze for kind of bringing planar magnetic technology kind of more to the masses. Well, audiophile masses, I should say. So the LCD2, yeah, the tuning is kind of strange in a way, but it's not like exactly bad. It's just different. I mean, it definitely has more of a warmer bass response. So anyone who's heard the LCD2s knows that it's a very warm sounding headphone, very dark sounding. And the bass is part of the reason because it does have, it's not like super elevated or anything, but it's just, you can definitely hear the warm bass. Like warm bass is just a feature that's very, very prominent in the LCD2s. And the mids are kind of interesting, I guess. Like the lower mids are definitely pushed up a bit, but the upper mids are kind of dipped down. And the treble is kind of rolled off as well, which adds to the warmness. So overall, it's just kind of an interesting tuned headphone. It's definitely not for everyone. Soundstage is okay. It's not the widest I've heard. Definitely not as wide as like a HiFiMan, I would say. But still decent soundstage, and detail is there for sure. Quite detailed, I would say. So yeah, Overall, it's an interesting headphone. That's why I say I don't hate it. You know, a lot of Audi's headphones, I would say, it's definitely more in the I don't like it range. Yeah, LCD2s are fine. I put in this tier because it's interesting. I don't hate it, but it's also a headphone I think many would want to EQ because it's kind of has an interesting tuning. Very warm bass, lower mids are pushed up a bit, upper mids a bit recessed, and then rolled off treble. I don't know who really likes this one, but there's definitely some audiophiles that do. So yeah, definitely a bit of an interesting tuning, I would say. Its soundstage is okay. Also, it's very uncomfortable and kind of on the heavier side because it's Audis. But other than that, it's an interesting headphone, I would say. So I'm put that in here, just because I think out of the Audi's headphones, I think this one is the one I didn't actually dislike. This one. Okay, up next is the Denon Music Maniac 400s. I've had these for about a year before they were stolen from me. Yeah, I had these for a year before I think someone in my workplace stole them from me and I couldn't find it again. But these are actually quite good for the time. Again, I find these kind of similar to the Sennheiser Momentums. About $320, similar price range, and the sound quality is pretty similar as well. It's also got that nicely balanced slight V shape to it. Definitely got like good bass and decent amount of treble and solid mids. I mean, for that price and the time that it was released in, about 10 years ago, yeah, I think these are quite solid. So yeah, I think when I bought these, they were fairly similar in sound quality to my Sennheiser Momentums, but I actually like them, the appearance better because of the wood cups and everything. You'll find that Denon actually makes some pretty nice closed back headphones. I think that's what they specialize in, is these like nice wooden closed back headphones, and they all sound pretty good actually, in my opinion. So at least in the above average tier here. So yeah, I'm going to put it in this tier. I think that the sound quality is similar to the Momentums, but they even look better with that wood cups and everything. And the build quality is always phenomenal with Denon headphones as well, right? Even though they're not all made in Japan, but they're all built to that Japanese quality standard. So I'm going to put this in the same tier as the Momentums. Yeah, really nice solid headphone for the time. Okay, so the Denon D5200 is a closed back wooden headphone. And you'll find a lot of Denons actually, I think, tuned quite well, to be honest. They make some of the best closebacks in my opinion. And yeah, D5200 is no exception. I think that these are actually Denon's cheapest closeback headphones among their premium line. And they retail for, I think, $700 originally. And these sound pretty referenced in my opinion. And by that, I mean like it's closer to neutral. So very type of balanced sound. It's not doesn't have too much bass, doesn't have too much treble. The mids are a little bit more forward because of that, but overall it's very lean, reference kind of balanced sounding type of sound. So I think most audiophiles will like this. It feels almost like the closed back version of something like the HD600s. It's like that. A lot of audiophiles like the HD600 or the R70X. Well, this is kind of like a closed back version of that. So yeah, very balanced, neutral sounding. And detail, well, to be honest, not a lot of it because it still sounds a little bit veiled to me. But yeah, that's the one down point of this headphone is I feel like it doesn't have the detail and resolution. But the tuning is actually quite well done. And if you're an audiophile that really appreciates that balanced reference neutral type of sound, then you'll like the 5200. But this is, to be fair, it is the entry level point into Denon's premium headphone line. So that's probably why the detail is not that much, right? So anyways, yeah, I would say other than the kind of veiled sound, the tuning is actually quite good on this one, so I like it. Okay, moving up the Denon headphone line, we have the D7200, the next up in the line, which also has a really beautiful looking wooden kind of ear cup here. And these retail for $1,000 US. The tuning is quite different than the D5200. The D5200 is kind of a more reference neutral tuning. The D7200 is like a W-shaped tuning where the bass is pushed up and elevated, treble is a little bit elevated, and the upper mids are a little bit forward as well. And it definitely is more of a brighter type of sound. I find like D5200 a little bit towards the warmer side than D7200 and 9200 more on the brighter side. But anyways, these are also tuned quite nicely in my opinion. Yes, the bass is is elevated, and some people have considered this to be a bass head type of headphone, which I don't really consider this, but yeah, like it is in the sense that the bass is quite nicely textured and highly detailed. So yes, if you want to have high quality bass, then the D7200 definitely has that, and it has it in quantity too. But it's not all bass. Like it has the mids and it has the treble as well. So it's not like it's only for bass. So I feel like the D7200 is almost like a better version or the fixed version of the TH900, the Fostex TH900, I mean. So yeah, I feel like the Fostex TH900, yes, it's a very high quality bass and in even more quantity than the 7200, I think. And a lot of people consider that bass head headphone. Well, if you want to have a version of the TH900 with not recessed mids, then get the T7200, where you have your mids up as well. So all in all, this is a pretty nicely tuned headphone. It's got very high quality bass, and also doesn't just have the bass. I mean, it has the mids and treble as well. So it's overall nicely tuned. The only thing is it's still not the most detailed. Yes, it's got more detail than the D5200, but it's still not the most detailed headphone, which you will definitely find out when you go up the ladder into the D9200. But other than that, I think it's another very interesting headphone by Denon. I liked it, you know. Very different than the D5200 in tuning, but still tuned in a very nice way. And this is good for really nice energetic tracks, as you can imagine, because it has the bass and it has the treble. But it's also decent for like most genres as well. Overall, it's quite like nicely balanced, I find. So D7200 is good. Yeah, I put in this tier. Okay, so the Final Audio D8000s. These are Final Audio's previous flagship. I think they have the D8000 Pros or newer ones now. But anyways, when it was first released, it was $4,000 US. So yes, quite expensive. And when I heard them, I was like, yeah, these are quite good. I wouldn't necessarily put them in my top tier of headphones though, because yes, while these are very good, I still think I heard like, you know, flagship headphones that sounded better than this. So anyways, at $4,000, yeah, it's above average, and that's why I put it here. I feel like the sound quality is the tuning. I think it could have needed a bit more bass. You know, these are planar magnetics, and I would have liked to have more planar bass on these. Like, yeah, the bass is actually fairly lean on these, more towards the neutral side, and the mids are kind of okay. The mids and treble are both like kind of balanced. So I think these headphones definitely lean more towards the neutral side of things, except, yeah, if you're going for the neutral side of things, I think that the direct competition to the D8000 would be the Susvaras, actually, to be honest, right? I know the Susvaras technically retail for more, but the Susvaras are more detailed. Like, I'm just going to be honest. Soundstage and detail, Susvaras just beat the 8000s. But I know that the Susvaras are more expensive, you know. But still, I think that's what's preventing me from putting D8000s into top tier, because I listened to electrostatics, right? Because I was in Japan, I was comparing all these high-end headphones. Compared to the electrostatic headphones, they're not up to that level in terms of the just the imaging and resolution. And in terms of dynamic driver and planar magnetics flagships, okay, yeah, like in that level, I think I've heard the LCD4s or LCD5s from Audis, so maybe they are comparable to that. But the only other, you know, flagship planar magnetic I had was the Susvaras, and these just do not up to the level of the Susvaras in terms of detail and soundstage, but still very good. You know, obviously for $4,000 headphone, I mean, yeah, it's still very good sound quality, still very detailed, and soundstage is up there. But it's just, I just felt like there were better flagships, better sounding flagships. But that's not to say that there's, you know, that the D8000s aren't good. They're tuned fairly well. Definitely more towards the more balanced and neutral side of things, and overall pretty solid. So I didn't put it in this tier. And I am curious about the D8000 Pros, but unfortunately I never heard those. Okay, so the Audio-Technica AWAS, or the AWAS. These ones are probably, I would say, the best tuned out of Audio-Technica's higher end closebacks. All of the Audio-Technica's higher end closebacks all have these nice like wooden ear cups and stuff, which are nice. And this one comes with the Japanese cherry wood. So I tried, the AP2000 Ti's, the AWKTs, which I hated, and the AWAS. Yeah, it's interesting because Audio-Technica really seems to like to experiment a lot with their tunings at the high end, and these ones are probably my personal favorite out of their high-end closebacks because the tuning is fairly lean and neutral, I would say. Not exactly neutral, but it's definitely more well-balanced compared to their to the crazy AWKTs or to the AP2000 Ti's. So AP2000 Ti was way too much forward on the treble and way too bright for a lot of people. And AWKTs, same problem, except now you have a shouty upper mid-range. The AWAS does not have that. AWAS, I would say, is fairly lean on the bass. So it's got very lean, kind of neutral bass. And the treble is still slightly bright. I mean, it's Audio-Technica, right? So it's still kind of slightly bright on the treble, but it's not too much. It doesn't have the peaky treble that the AP2000 Ti has. So overall, it's definitely more of like a leaner, more flatter reference type of sound. Even though it's not exactly like the HD600 or anything like that. It's not like that, but still, it's more balanced sounding than the other Audio-Technicas at this price range, I think. So because it's a little bit more like neutral-ish and flatter, the mids actually kind of stand out on this one. So that's what I remember about this one the most is the kind of forward mids. So you do get a lot of great mid detail out of this one because the overall sound signature is more balanced and more flatter. Yeah, the mids definitely stand out more on the AWAS. So overall, I think these are pretty decent. Probably one of my favorite Audio-Technica headphones in their upper price range. Although it's still not like great. I mean, there's still some issues with this one, right? Like I wish it did have more bass. The bass is a little bit too lean for me. And yeah, the treble is still can be still a little bit harsh for some people, but not for me. I think that this one is, yeah, overall I find this kind of a mid-centric headphone because it is like a more flatter kind of neutral type of frequency response. The mids do get pushed up a little bit more and become more forward, and then the mids are quite detailed as well. So yeah, I would say for vocals and for mids, this is actually a pretty good closed back headphone. Also looks really nice as well. Unfortunately, you still have the issue of the headband and the big ear cups that kind of squish your ear, so it's not very comfortable to wear. Again, not sure why Audio-Technica does this on their higher end headphones when they already made comfortable headphones on their lower end. But yeah, out of all of the higher end closed backs, I would say I like the AWS the best. Okay, so next is the Fostex TH610s, which I think personally are my favorite Fostex in terms of tuning. They did a really good job with this one. Honestly, I think it's a really underrated headphone because not many people know about this or have heard about it. But the TH610s are kind of like a sleeper. Yeah, like first of all, nice wooden cups right here, right? I know like Japanese headphone companies always like to use the wood and everything on their headphones, and especially the closed backs. And yeah, nice wooden closed backs here. The TH610s are tuned more at a reference level, so the bass is fairly lean. The mids are very well balanced, and the treble can be considered a little bit peaky for some. But yeah, I think yeah, the one that I got was okay. I mean, I know there's some TH610 models that may be a little bit too harsh or sibilant in the treble. But overall, I think mine was okay. It's definitely a bright headphone for sure. But yeah, overall, I found this really nicely well tuned. If you're looking for, again, kind of like a leaner, balanced type of tuning, you can check out this headphone. Doesn't have too much bass in it, but I think it has enough for, it's still like, it's not like too elevated or anything. It's not really recessed either. It has probably just the right amount of lean bass. Mids are a little bit forward because it is a little bit flatter, so the mids come forward a little bit more. So I think the mid detail on this is really nice. And the treble, yeah, slightly elevated for sure. Some people might be a little bit harsh, but not for me. So overall, I think the TH610s, I like these a lot actually, and not many people talk about them. But for me, this is actually one of my favorite closed backs in this price range. Yeah, if you're looking for a nice closed back that you know, looks pretty nice with a wooden closed back, and also has nice good mid detail for vocals and everything, yeah, definitely check this one out. The only thing is, like, it might be a little bit harsh or peaky to some, but for me it's okay. Okay, so the Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro starts off my A tier, which I think are generally pretty outstanding headphones for the price or for sound quality, or both. And the 250 ohm version especially. So these, at the time that I got them, which was like back in 2014-ish, Actually, no, I got them 2013, I think. Yeah, so 2013. At that time, I think the 250 ohm version was like 180 bucks or something. Really good actually for that price. I know if you look at the graph and yeah, if you just judge by frequency response, okay, people say the DT770 Pros are way too harsh and bright. I never felt that. I felt like, okay, sure, if you focus on that, like, and you play like songs with a lot of energy and stuff, it can sound like kind of harsh or sibilant or bright. But for me, I think these were okay. Like I felt like, okay, the bass could use a little bit more bass, but overall the bass is fairly lean. The mids are fairly neutral as well, I would say. They're not like pushed forward or recessed too much, and it's just the treble is a little bit peaky. But overall, I think these are really nice sounding headphones for the price, you know, and they're extremely comfortable. Like Beyerdynamic makes some really nice, comfortable headphones, and these are, yeah, no exception. They're built really well as well. And yeah, overall, I like the sound of these, you know. I know Beyers can seem a bit too bright or harsh for some people, but I like the DT770 Pros, especially for this price. I think it's probably one of the best sounding closed backs that I've heard. Yeah, also one of the most comfortable as well. So overall, yeah, unless you're like really sensitive to like peaky treble, I think, and I am too as well, you know, but I never thought these as like that peaky to me, at least not to me. So yeah, overall these are pretty good for me. Okay, so next up is the updated DT770 Pros. It's called the DT700 Pro X. And these were released fairly recently in the last few years. They retail for $300 originally. And yeah, just like the DT770 Pros, I really like these ones as well. The updated, I think they call them stellar drivers. So they have updated drivers. The frequency response is, I mean, the tuning is just a little bit different than the DT770 Pros, not by much. I think they actually toned down the treble a bit. So the 770 does sound like, you know, a little bit harsh and peaky to some people, but the 700 Pro X tones that down, and you'll actually find the lower treble kind of rolled off a bit. So yeah, overall these are fairly neutral tuned. So it doesn't really have the harsh treble of the 700s, even though I like the 770s as well. But these ones don't even have that harsh treble anymore. So overall, it's another great headphone, I think, for the price. So for 300 bucks, yeah, these are one of the best sounding headphones I've heard for that price range, you know, especially for closed backs. Like, yeah, these are very comfortable, as you would expect from Beyerdynamic. They're built really well, as you would expect from Beyerdynamic. And they kind of fixed up some of the bright peakiness of the 770s. So yeah, overall, I'm happy to recommend this to anyone looking for just a great sounding headphone, great sounding closed back under 300 bucks, because these are, yeah, overall quite on the neutral side, not exactly neutral, but like definitely towards the neutral side of things, very well balanced sounding. Nothing's really pushed up or recessed too much, although the lower treble is rolled down a bit. But overall, a great amount of detail, I would say, for this price range. So overall, I do like it. One of my favorite headphones in this price range. Okay, so next up is another Beyerdynamic, the MMX 330 Pros. So I also tried the MMX 300s as well, which is essentially the closed back version of the DT700 Pro X's. These ones are the open back version, which gives a little bit, you know, more airy soundstage, but just kind of like in a minor way. I didn't really think that it was, you know, a huge difference, but still, I do think that sound quality wise is a little bit better than the 300 Pros. Anyways, everything I said about the DT700 Pro X, same drivers in here, the MMX 300s and 330 Pros. The main difference being that the MMX series, because they're gaming headphones, they come with a microphone as well. And for microphone technology, Beyerdynamic has been at that for a very long time as well. In fact, they have over like 100 years of history, right? And they built microphones before they built headphones. So microphone quality is quite good as well, as you would expect from Beyerdynamic. Other than that, everything I said, DT700 Pro X applies here. It's a little bit more dynamic sounding, but not by much. I mean, still fairly neutral, I would say. I know they're meant to be gaming headphones, but in terms of sound quality, this is fairly close to DT700 Pro X, you know. Pretty close. It retails for just $30 more because you have that extra microphone, and it is open back as well. But it doesn't leak too much sound, actually, for an open back. It's one of those semi-open backs, so it doesn't really leak all too much sound unless you're like right next to me. So yeah, overall, pretty good sound quality, one of the best gaming headsets on the market, I would say. because essentially it is the DT700 Pro X's, but with an open back version with a microphone attached. So yeah, overall pretty good. And definitely not like other gaming headsets. It's not like really too V-shaped or anything. It's definitely actually fairly balanced for a gaming headset. So yeah, like probably towards the DT700 Pro X's, I would say, in terms of the sound signature, which is like definitely more leaning towards the balanced side. So overall, pretty good. You know, I put DT 700, 770, 700, MX330 all in the same tier here. They're all pretty close to each other. Also has the build quality and the comfort level you expect from other Beyerdynamics. Very, very comfortable to wear for long gaming sessions. So yeah. Aside from the sound quality, I think the comfort factor is a big difference too. Okay, so also on the A tier, I'm going to put the Dan Clark Audio Aeon Closed X. So this is the closed back version of the Dan Clark drop collaboration. And I like this a lot better than the open back version. So I put the open back version, I think, in the C tier, right? I'm putting the closed back all the way in the A tier because honestly, I think Dan Clark Audio, they're just, for some reason, their closed backs just sound much better than their open backs, in my opinion. Like they just somehow, for planar magnetic closed backs, like they just do it, you know. They know how to do it, the secret sauce or whatever. Anyways, yeah, what I love about this headphone, first of all, the tuning is very balanced. So it's got a slight V shape, a little bit of a bass bump, and the treble push as well, but not too much. Upper mids pushed a little bit. Overall, quite well balanced. Nothing is pushed up too much. Nothing's recessed that much either. Overall, just a really nice, nicely balanced type of tuning that most people will like, I think. Detail is there as well. I mean, for 500 bucks, it's going to be hard to find a headphone that sounds as good under 500 bucks, to be honest. And soundstage is quite good as well. I mean, the thing about Dan Clark Audio, I'm always amazed at how they managed to have such a big soundstage in a closed back. So yeah, they managed to somehow have the soundstage be as wide in a closed back as their open backs. And honestly, I did not feel that their open back version even had better soundstage than the closed backs. I think they had the same amount of soundstage, which is quite surprising, right? You would think the open version has more, but no. The closed back version has just as much soundstage, in my opinion, and it's also better tuned. So yeah, I like the closed back version a lot more. It's also extremely comfortable, like with all Dan Clark Audio headphones. Yeah, so overall, I really like the closed back version. I think the closed back version is going to be my recommendation for one of the best closed back headphones under 500 bucks. It just is. I mean, it's super comfortable, and it's yeah, just the sound quality, the tuning, everything, soundstage is all A tier, yeah, for that price range. Okay, so also on this tier is the Dan Clark Aeon 2 closed, which I owned for I would say a little bit over a year. Yeah, these ones are also really nice too. So compared to the closed X, these ones are kind of like that, except more detailed, and I would say even more towards the neutral side of things. So what I'm talking about is the Aeon 2 closed, not the Nora version, by the way. The Nora version essentially is just a pad swap. So what Dan Clark did was some people had an issue with this being too neutral, so it sounds a little bit boring, you know? Because once you get things like too balanced, too flat, too neutral, people start to say, oh, it's boring or whatever. And then they want to have a more exciting version. So what Dan Clark did was they're like, okay, you want an exciting version? Well, we can do that with a pad swap. So essentially they put different pads on it and to get like a slightly more V-shaped sound signature, and then they made a black version and called it the Nora. But the Nora really has the same drivers as the Aeon 2. Essentially just a pad swap and a color change. That's it. But I like the original Aeon 2 closed version as well. It's definitely more neutral leading, so it might be boring to some people, but it's very, very well balanced, you know, at the same time. So yeah, bass is fairly lean, treble, you know, mids, everything is just very, very reference neutral sounding. It's not like going to be the most detailed headphone you will experience, but hey, you know, it's around $1,000, actually $900 or something. So yeah, I mean, around this price range, I think, yeah, sure, you can find more detailed headphones like the Focal Clear, for example, but they won't be as balanced sounding as the Aeon 2s, nor will they be as comfortable or compact as the Aeon 2s, since these things fold up as well. That's another advantage they have over the drop version. So compared to the Aeon closed X, these ones can fold up as well, which is nice. So yeah, overall, just a really great pair of closed backs if you're looking for that that neutral balance type of sound signature. Okay, so the Shure SRH 1540s, which are one of Shure's more expensive headphones. I think this and the 1840s are their most expensive at $500. Shure overall, I think they produce some pretty affordable headphones, to be honest, for their sound quality. And this one is no exception. I think that these are really good value for the price. Basically for $500 headphone, like these sound, these sound like more like $1,000 headphones, to be honest. They have a really nice balanced tuning. Like the tuning is like a little bit V-shaped, slightly V-shaped, not too much. We have a little bit of a bass push, a little bit treble push, and overall just kind of a U-shaped curve, I guess. Yeah, overall really nice. I like the sound signature here and very well detailed as well. So if you guys are looking for kind of a fun, exciting, dynamic, engaging type of headphone, the Shure SRH 1540s are one of the best that you can pick up under $500. So in order of closebacks, you guys can see like my for closeback recommendations under $500, the Aeon Closed X and the Shure SRH 1540s are pretty close. I think both are really, really good. And the build quality is pretty decent as well, because for this tier of headphones, for the $500 tier, Shure actually builds them quite well. Sure. So yeah, if you guys are looking for a nice, fun, kind of dynamic listen for around the $500 price range, it's hard to beat the 1540s. They're really, really nice. Really good value for the price. Okay, so right next to the 1540s are the 1840s, the other, I guess, co-flagship of Shure headphones. These ones are open back and also priced around $500. And honestly, it's another great value because these sound, to me, they sound just like Sennheiser HD650s without the veil. So yeah, I mean, I was talking about how, okay, the HD650s, they got this nice linear, like kind of neutral towards almost flatter type of response, right? But it has that veil, you know, that makes things sound not that detailed, kind of muffled sounding. But the 1840s are more detailed versions of the HD650s, and for not really that much more. And in fact, you can find them secondhand for much, much cheaper. So if you guys like the sound signature, like the more linear, neutral, flatter type of sound signature of the HD650s or the Audio-Technica R70Xs, but you don't like the veil, you know, you want to have a little bit more detail, then check out the SRH 1840s. So yeah, I mean, to me, that's the main issue with HD650s and Grell OAEs and the R70Xs. Like, yeah, they're a nice reference neutral type of sound signature, but they have like not enough detail for me. It sounds veiled. Well, the 1840s fixes that by adding more detail, but you get the same type of reference neutral type of sound signature. So it's a great preference option for those of you guys, those of you audiophiles who want to have very neutral type of response. Use it for studio monitoring. Just want to listen to your music without without having anything kind of really elevated or recessed, then it's a really good option. So another great one from Shure, I think. It's hard to beat this one on value when it comes to that reference type of sound signature. Okay, so you guys have heard me mention the Aeon Closed X and the Shure SRH 1540s for some of my picks for best value full-size headphone options under $500, and then I just mentioned the 1840s as well as one of the best open back headphones you can get for under $500. Well, here's another one, the Focal Elex, another one of the best sounding open backs that you can get under $500. This is a Drop collaboration that Focal did with Drop, and yeah, the Elex sounds really, really good for its price. Like, honestly, it probably sounds like 80 to 90% that of the Alere, to be honest. I mean, it's incredible because the Alere is like a $1,000 headphone originally, right? Elex really sounds close to that. Honestly, it's more like the Clear, to be honest, more so than the Alere, but the Alere and Clear are pretty similar too. So it's almost like, yeah, it's like you're getting a 80 to 90% of the Clear for like half price, you know, and that's incredible. So the sound is pretty close to the Clear in my opinion. Okay, the Clear has a little bit more detail, but not by much. It's like the Elex has an incredible amount of detail for its price. So compared to the 1840s, which I just talked about, the 1840s, like I said, are like a more detailed version of the HD650s. Well, the Elex is a little bit, I mean, it's still kind of neutral, right? It's still kind of like that reference neutral sound. Doesn't have a lot of bass, doesn't push up the treble too much. So in that way, it's kind of more similar to the 1840s. But it just like all the other Focal headphones, it focuses a little bit more in the mid detail. So you will get a little bit more forward mids and mid detail out of the Elex. So I think Shure 1840 versus Focal Elex will be a preference based on whether you want to have a truly reference type sound signature like the 1840s, or you want to have a little bit more mid detail for vocals and stuff like that. And then the Focal Elex has a little bit forward mids, just because that's what the Clear was as well, right? The Focal Clear is a little bit more forward on the mids, and that's what the Elex is as well. You're getting like 80%, 90% of the detail of the Clears for like half price. So it's an incredible value. So again, one of my biggest recommendations under $500 for those of you guys who want to have like kind of like a very neutral type sound signature with a more mid focus. The Focal Elex is yeah, one of the best you can get for that price range. Oh, also just a side note, yes, just like other Focals, you will not be getting much soundstage out of this, even though it's open back. The 1840s don't really have that much soundstage either, but because it's based on like almost like the HD 650s, right? But it at least still has more soundstage than the Elexes. So just to be aware, even though this is an open back, just like other Focals, it does not really have the soundstage. So out of the two, I think 1840s have more soundstage than this by a little bit. You know, not saying the 1840s have that much either, but Elexes almost have none, because that's what Focal headphones are like. And I do think this is kind of a preference for Focal, because even on their Utopia 2022s, like it didn't have that much soundstage. So I feel like they deliberately try to make a narrow soundstage for their headphones, and the reason for that might be because they want to focus more on the intimate mids. So the intimate vocals or intimate mid type of sound, I think Focal probably thinks that this will be compromised if they open up the soundstage too much. So I guess they want to have that mid focus and then focus on the, you know, for vocal tracks or for mids tracks. Yeah, they want it to sound a little bit more intimate and detailed. And for that, I think they don't want to expand the soundstage too much, I think. So that's why they keep it kind of narrow for their headphones. That's probably why they don't have a wide soundstage, even on their flagship headphones. Okay, so the only pair of wireless headphones I'm putting in my A tier is the Bowers & Wilkins PX7 S2. The reason for that is because, I mean, for $400, I know still like a little bit more on the expensive side, but it's pretty much the same price as like, say, the Momentum 4s, right? And a lot of the other headphones out there, the 1000 XM5s and stuff. I just think the PX7 S2 is the better headphone. Like, in pretty much all areas. First of all, the design. I really like the design of the PX7 S2s, especially in this gorgeous kind of blue gold color. Really beautiful design. And secondly, noise cancellation is very good. For Bowers headphones, I feel like the noise cancellation is just a step below Sony, Bose, and Apple, so just a tier below. So still like very, very good noise cancellation. Not the best, but still really, really good. And then finally, the sound quality, which I think the PX7 S2 leaned more towards the V shape, but it's not too much. Yeah, it's still more of a V shape than the PX8s, honestly. The PX8's a little bit more balanced sounding in comparison. But yeah, definitely more of a V shape of the PX7 S2s. But it will sound very fun and dynamic and engaging. And the detail and resolution is pretty much on par with the Momentum 4s. So yeah, basically you're getting the detail and clarity of the Sennheiser Momentum 4s with a slightly more V-shaped sounding sound signature with better noise cancellation and, in my opinion, better design as well. So yeah, in terms of just overall wireless headphones, if I'm just like, you know, making a ranking, what is the best value? I think the PX7 S2s really top it for me. Like, yes, there's better sounding headphones, but they're much more expensive. Yes, there's better noise cancellation headphones like the Sony, Bose, and Apple, but at the expense of sound quality, I would say. Like, I still would say, okay, Apple AirPods Max sound, you know, about the same as this, but it costs more, you know. The noise cancellation, yes, is a bit better on the Apple, but yeah, I still think the PX7 S2s are the best in terms of value. Like, there are headphones that have better noise cancellation and better sound quality, but not both, and not for the same price. You know, for this price, I think these are just hands down the best wireless headphones you can get. And now the new version, the PX7 S2Es, I think, are probably the way to go. So yeah, that's my pick for this. These are just my personal preference for my favorite wireless headphones for the money. Okay, so the HiFiMan Sundaras, I'm going to put this in the A tier because this is an incredible value headphone. It retails for only $300 US. And probably it's going to be hard to find a better sounding headphone under 300 bucks. Like closed or open, doesn't matter. But this being an open back planar headphone, yeah, like the Audi's LCD1, I put in the D tier, right? Because I said it was extremely underwhelming, even considering the price. Yes, it's more portable and whatever, but I still found it kind of underwhelming. Sundara just kills the LCD ones, honestly, like even for less cost, actually. So yeah, these ones, the sound signature is very, very, I would say very neutral and balanced. So yeah, it's not going to have too much bass. It's not going to be peaking in the treble. It's going to have like a slightly forward upper mids, and really it's just kind of ideal, right, for the type of sound signature that won't offend anyone. Just a very balanced kind of reference neutral type of sound signature. And the detail is probably the best that you can find in its price range. Is not going to match up to like, you know, $1,000 headphone. But I will say that compared to pretty much every other headphone under 500 bucks, it will beat it in detail. So yeah, for this price, it's hard to find something that sounds better, honestly. You know, soundstage, detail retrieval, and a really nicely like kind of flat neutral balance in terms of sound signature. So yeah, hard to beat the Sundara in value, honestly. If you're looking for a headphone that's just want to have the best sounding headphone under 300 bucks, Sundara is it. Okay, so the HiFiMan Aria Organic, I'm going to put in this tier as well. Yeah, so these are basically, if you guys know the HE1000 Stealths, these are pretty close to that, honestly. I know the HE1000 is a tier above the Arias, but Aria Organic comes pretty close, like 90% of HE1000 Stealth, I would say. The sound signature is pretty similar to the Stealth. Like, you get a pretty V-shaped sound signature. Like, you get a lot of bass, and you got a lot of treble as well, with like recessed mids. It's not like too much where it's like unlistenable or anything like that. I just don't really like the sound signature that much because I think it's too much bass for me, and it's like a little bit too V-shaped for me. But I have to just still put in this tier because the sound quality is just amazing, as you would expect from HiFiMan. So yeah, incredible amount of detail, incredible amount of soundstage. Yeah, just it is definitely more detailed than the Aria Stealth is, the previous version, and like I said, 90% of the way to HE1000 Stealth, honestly. So $1,600. Like the price at the time when it first retailed, it was pretty close to the Stealth in terms of pricing as well. So I think HiFiMan kind of knew that, okay, this is pretty close to the Stealth, even though Stealth is like a little bit better built. But yeah, sound signature, yeah, and quality is pretty close to HE1000 Stealth, honestly, for a similar price originally. But now it's been discounted. You can find it under $1,000 right now, and that's kind of a no-brainer, right? Aria Organic, like you're getting HE1000 Stealth levels of sound quality, and for under $1,000 now, so pretty good. Okay, HiFiMan HE1000 V2s. These are the second from the top model of HiFiMan headphones. Their flagship is the Susvara. HE1000 is their, yeah, kind of the next tier down. These originally retailed for $3,000. They've been heavily discounted since then because that's what HiFiMan does. Whenever they release new models, the old model gets discounted a lot. So now they have the HE1000, well, they had the HE1000 Stealth, then the SE, and now the Unveiled. So these ones got discounted quite a bit. But originally they were $3,000 when they came out. Yeah, the sound quality is amazing, as you would expect from HiFiMan. I would say like 80% of the way to Susvara, you know, like it's always diminishing returns, right, once you go up the ladder. But I think HE1000 is probably like 80% of Susvara. And if you go back to Aria's maybe like, you know, 70-75% of HE1000. So yeah, it just, you know, gradually diminishing returns as you go up. But hey, I can't fault it for the detail and soundstage. They're just top tier. You know, they're very comparable to the HD800S by Sennheiser. So you can think of that level of detail and soundstage. In terms of tuning, it's kind of similar to the HD800, honestly, in terms of tuning, because it's fairly like neutral and flat. So it's not an exciting headphone. It might be boring to some people, but if you want that kind of neutral reference type of sound signature, if you like the HD800s basically, then you'll like the HE1000 V2s, because these are tuned pretty similar to the HD800s and sound pretty similar too. Like soundstage, yes, maybe the HD800s still have a bit wider soundstage, but in terms of detail and in terms of the neutral flat type of tuning, the nice reference type of tuning, then yeah, HE1000 V2 has that. The only thing is, like, yeah, it might be sounding boring to some people because it doesn't have that much bass, and it doesn't sound all that exciting. Okay, so the HiFiMan HE1000 Stealth, these are essentially HE1000 V3. They called it Stealth because it uses the new stealth magnets. But yeah, these ones, honestly, in terms of design and appearance, they're exactly the same as the V2s almost. So it was kind of hard for me to tell apart the V2 from the Stealths. I mean, if not for the box that it came in, I wouldn't even know. That's one, I guess, criticism I have for HiFiMan. You know, besides the variation in units, like, yeah, HiFiMan has a QA problem where their units have huge variance. But besides that, I don't like the fact that the HE1000 Stealth honestly looks exactly the same as a V2. Like, put a V3 or put a Stealth or some kind of thing on it so that we can tell the difference, man. Plus the box, right? The box that comes with all the Stealth models, the Aria Stealth, the HE1000 Stealth comes in this cardboard box. Sure, it has a stand inside of it, like a cardboard foam stand, but the boxes honestly aren't as nice looking as the previous generation. The HE1000 V2 had a way better box. So just kind of like, you know, the criticisms unrelated to the sound quality. The build quality is the same as the HE1000 V2s, which is just okay. You know, they're not great build quality, still a little bit better than the Arias, but HiFiMan has never been known for the build quality either. HiFiMan is known for their sound quality first and foremost. And yes, the HE1000 Stealth, in terms of sound quality, I would say it's pretty much similar to the HE1000 V2s, just with a different sound signature. It's more V-shaped. So like I mentioned with the Aria Organics, the HE1000 Stealth have a more of a V-shaped sound signature. So more bass and more treble recessed mids. Compared to the V2 is a more referenced, flatter, neutral type of sound signature. Doesn't have too much bass, or yeah, it is bright still because all HiFiMans are bright, but it doesn't have like pushed up treble or anything. The Stealth definitely has like elevated bass, elevated treble, and recessed mids. So V2 versus Stealth is really just a matter of preference on tuning, because sound quality wise and soundstage, they're pretty much the same. It's just going to be like how much do you like the tuning of the Stealth. For me, it's a little bit too much bass actually. I like to have more bass because I think the V2 was honestly a little bit too boring and flat for me. But then the Stealth went a little bit too much in the other direction where we put too much bass on it. For me anyways. I know it's not really for bass heads. I'm not saying that it has huge amount of bass, like, you know, for bass heads or anything. I'm not saying that, but it's just still a little bit too V-shaped for me. I had the same issue with the Aria Organics. So, yeah. Anyways, HE1000 Stealth is essentially just a V-shaped version of HE1000 V2. Okay, so now we come to the granddaddy, the flagship HiFiMan, the Susvara. So now they have the Susvara unveiled, but I'm talking about the original Susvara here, which retailed for $8,000 US. Yes, it's a crazy amount of money. But hey, I know, what can I say? It's a great sounding headphone. Probably in terms of detail and soundstage, some of the best you'll ever experience in a headphone. Yeah, it's absolutely top tier in terms of detail, resolution, and soundstage. The tuning is fairly similar to the HE1000 V2, I would say, which means it's definitely more flatter, reference neutral type of tuning. So yeah, what can I say? If you guys like the Sennheiser HD800s or the HE1000 V2s, Susvara is like that on steroids, right? It's yeah, it's very expensive, but you also get incredibly detailed resolution, texture, soundstage. You get all of that with a very neutral reference flat type of sound signature, essentially, that doesn't change too much your music. It doesn't color your music too much. Nothing is like too pushed up or recessed. Just gives you the music in all its detail and resolution the way that it's meant to be heard, which is kind of uncolored. So anyways, yeah, it's one of the ultimate headphones, I would say, for audiophiles. So if you guys haven't tried the Susvara, then it's really one of the end game headphones that audiophiles kind of go after. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna put it here because I know it's incredibly expensive, but you're talking about an end game full-size headphone, right? Okay, now the Sennheiser HD800S. This is a pretty legendary headphone amongst audiophiles. Yeah, well, what can I say that audiophiles don't already know, right? Like this is an amazing headphone in terms of detail, soundstage, the tuning. It's fairly similar to the HE1000 V2, I would say. in many areas. Like detail resolution, I would say is right up there with HD1000 V2. Soundstage, I know this is kind of considered a headphone that's kind of king of soundstage, right? So the soundstage is still a little bit wider on the HD800S compared to the HD1000 V2s. But it's still like, you know, it's pretty close between the two. But yeah, if you're looking for soundstage, it's hard to beat the HD800s. And in terms of tuning, yeah, it's definitely more towards the neutral, flatter reference side of things. So it presents to you the music that, you know, is essentially uncolored. And yeah, there's the original HD800, which was even more flatter in reference, but some people didn't like that the treble was like a little bit too peaky and it didn't have enough bass. So the HD800S version adds just a slight touch of bass and then rolls down the treble just a slight touch. So that makes it, you know, a little bit more digestible for most people. But yeah, overall, even though it adds a little bit of bass and rolls down treble a bit, I would still say that it's essentially just a very, you know, reference neutral type of headphone. So yeah, if you guys are looking for like an end game level reference neutral headphone, I think this as far as still the end game of end games, but you know, not everyone has $8,000 in their pocket. So yeah, the HD800S, while still expensive, is not as expensive as Susvara, obviously. So still an end game headphone for a lot of people, right? Incredible detail, soundstage, and dynamics, and yeah, flatter kind of reference neutral type of sound signature that gives you the music in a fully revealed way. Okay, also in the A tier is the Koss Porta Pros. No, I'm not joking. It is in the A tier because this is an incredible value headphone. Like this, it kind of is an on-ear headphone, right? It just fits on your ears, so can be like a little bit uncomfortable, although there is an adjustment type of switch right there. You can make it, you know, kind of a little bit less tight, but overall these are really, really good for the price. For 40 bucks, I mean, yeah, they're just incredible sound. In fact, when I tried them on, I was just like, how the heck do they look so cheap? And they are cheap, right, in terms of price. And then how do they produce the type of sound they produce, right? The bass is actually incredible coming out of these. So you will hear that there is bass in these, which is more than what you can say for other headphones in that price range, right? You're talking about under $50, right? For a full-size headphone, essentially. Under $50, it's actually hard to find anything that has as much bass that you can kind of feel. And okay, the treble is there, and a little bit of a dip in the upper mids, I feel. But other than that, not too much to complain about with the sound signature, because honestly, I'm just surprised by the amount of bass this thing can put out for the price. Yeah, so obviously, it's not going to be like an amazing headphone if you compare it to like headphones costing hundreds of dollars. So it's not that level, but I'm just talking about in terms of its price, right? For under $50, you get a headphone that has actually very good bass, especially considering the price point it operates at, and you know, pretty decent frequency response as well. Just in terms of it's not like neutral or anything like that, but it's balanced enough to where you can just use it for most types of music still and be fine with it. Folds up, so it's actually quite portable. Yes, it's on ears, but you can adjust the fit as well, so it's not like too uncomfortable or anything. And yes, it does feel cheap, but I mean, it's 40 bucks, right? So honestly, for this price, it's hard to think of a better headphone under, like, in this price point. You know, if you look under 100 bucks, like, sure, maybe you can find the Grado SR60Xs, right? Those sound better, but not for under $50. You know, this is probably the best sounding headphone under $50, no questions asked. All right, so the Denon D9200. These are Denon's flagship headphones. They only make closed-back headphones, and this is their flagship and their best headphone. Retails for $1,600 US, so it's quite expensive, but I really do like it. It's got this nice Japanese bamboo wood ear cups. So Denon always have these like wood ear cups, right, on their headphones, and yeah, this one Japanese bamboo is especially nice. Of course, very well built, made in Japan and everything, as you would expect. Fairly comfortable, not exactly Beyerdynamic or Dan Clark level, but still fairly comfortable. I do like the tuning on this one. It's done in sort of like, basically if you imagine the D7200 tuning, which I talked about already, it's kind of like a W shape, and it's got elevated bass, elevated treble, and a little bit pushed up mids as well. Well, the Denon D9200 is kind of like that, but it doesn't have as much bass as the D7200. It's still high quality bass, just doesn't have as much of it. The treble is kind of reined in a little bit as well. So overall, it's kind of like a soft W shape. Which is actually very, very balanced, you know? I thought like, okay, the D7200, some people consider that it has enough bass quantity to be considered a bass headphone, right? But the D9200 kind of reins down the bass a little bit. Still got elevated bass, but it's just not as much as the D7200. So I can't consider this as much of a bass headphone as D7200 is. However, it's still got very high quality bass with a lot of slam and impact. It's still got very good mids and treble. While it's a little bit toned down, it's still pretty good. You know, still a bright headphone. So overall, it's really nicely tuned. The level of detail has been increased from the D7200. So this is definitely Denon's most detailed headphones, just what you would expect from a flagship level, you know? So I found like overall, it's interesting when I compare the different Japanese headphone companies. I find like, okay, Fostex has some interesting stuff. Looks like they do a lot of experimentation. Like TH900, their flagship is a very V-shaped one and meant for bass heads. Audio-Technica is just everywhere, you know, like they make one for treble heads and they make one that's kind of just like really shouty upper mid-range like the AWKTs. It's kind of just all over the place with Audio-Technica. And then for Denon, they seem to be a little bit more balanced in their tuning. And overall, I think Denon is just all their like nice wood closed back headphones have been pretty nice in terms of tuning. The D9200, of course, being their flagship, has the most detail, the best resolution out of them all. And in my opinion, it's the best tuned of them all. Like you don't have the neutral type of response as the D5200, but you don't also have the heavy V-shaped response of the D7200 either. Instead, you get something in between, which is definitely more balanced and just good for listening to most genres. So it's just a really nicely balanced headphone. Has kind of a soft W or V shape. Good enough for most genres, will satisfy most people. Very good bass quality on this, and yeah, I would consider this just in general a well-tuned headphone, and I know it's still expensive, but yeah, just in general, I like it. D9200 is a great headphone, so that's why it belongs in the A tier. If you're looking for a flagship level closeback, I would say D9200 and then Nora X would be on this level. Nora X actually I'm going to put in the higher tier because it's actually even better value than D9200, but D9200 is still really good. So anyways, I'm putting in the A tier here. Alright, so the HiFiMAN Aria Stealth is going to start off my S tier, and you might be wondering, okay, why the Aria Stealth? Why is this one in S tier, not the Sesvara, not the HE1000 V2? Well, here's the thing. I actually prefer the tuning on the Aria Stealth the most out of any HiFiMAN headphone. Yes, these are the tuning that I prefer the most. I know in terms of detail and resolution is not going to match up to HE1000 V2 or Sesvara, but in terms of what you get for the value, yeah, these are in my S tier. Okay, originally they retail for $1,600 US, but they've been heavy discounts since, right? Because HiFiMAN always discount whenever they release new models. I ended up getting this for like $600, so that's actually a really good price for something of this quality. Now they have the Aria unveiled, right? So this one is probably going to go down even more. But yeah, like for the price that I paid for it, I mean, even at $1,600 when it was first released, the sound quality and detail is all there, you know. Extremely high resolution and great soundstage. Yeah, basically, like when it came out, it was pretty good. It wasn't like, you know, the flagship level, but for the price range, you know, this very, very competitive as price range, and now that's discounted, it's an even better value. Yes, build quality is not up to the level of HE1000 or Sesvara, but then again, you know, it's not like HiFiMAN is well known for build quality anywhere. Yeah, there's some unit variation as well because it's HiFiMAN. But what can I say? I think the thing that puts this one in S tier for me is really just the tuning combined with the sound quality that you get for the discounted price. So yeah, this thing has the perfect tuning for me. It has a slight V shape. It's not too much of a V shape like the Aria Organic or the HE1000 Stealth is. At the same time, it's not too flat and not too neutral like the HE1000 V2 or the Sesvara is. So really, this is just the perfect Goldilocks tuning for me, you know? like too flat and too neutral is a little bit too boring. So that's where HE1000 V2 and Susvara are for me. And then too V-shaped is like too much bass and too much treble. That's where Aria Organic, or mids are too recessed. That's where Aria Organic and HE1000 Stealth are for me. Then Aria Stealth is really right in the Goldilocks middle, where you have a slight V-shape, little bit of a bass push, a little bit of treble push, not too much. And mids are there, not too recessed, and it's just perfect for me. The tuning is absolutely perfect on the Aria Stealth for me. So that's why it goes in the S tier for me. And the detail, resolution, soundstage is all there as well. It's to the point where I feel like, okay, if I didn't try HE1000 or Susvara, I wouldn't even know that there would be better detail than this. It's like, already I feel like there's a lot. It's like good enough for me, you know? I mean, honestly, I think that the detail in soundstage is like 75% of the way of the HE1000s. So yeah, I mean, to me, that's close enough, and for definitely like a lot cheaper, you know. So yeah, like basically like half the price. So it's really, really good value for me. Okay, so you guys just heard me talk about why I think the Aria Stealth is S tier. Okay, the Darren Clarke Nora X. These are essentially the latest version of the Aeons. Darren Clarke has an even higher model called the E3, which unfortunately I still haven't listened to yet, but I heard the E3 is really, really good as well. I actually really wanted the E3, but it's still like kind of out of my price range. When the Nora X came out, it's kind of like, yeah, kind of like E3 Junior, you know. It's kind of like got the technology of the E3, but, you know, kind of made a little bit more affordable than I honestly, I just rushed to get the Nora X, and it's an incredible headphone. Basically, everything I talked about the Aria Stealth is true with the Nora X, except it's not open back, so it doesn't leak sound. And it's actually more comfortable, because HiFiMAN headphones honestly are not that comfortable. The Nora X is way more comfortable, it's way more portable, and it's closed back, so it doesn't leak sound like the HiFiMAN headphones do. And honestly, the sound signature and detail is right up there with the Aria Stealth. Like, yes, I'm not kidding. The soundstage is pretty close to the Aria Stealth. Like maybe the Aria Stealth still has a bit more because it's completely open back and everything. But the Nora X comes pretty close despite being a closed back. And the soundstage and yeah, so soundstage comes close to the Aria Stealth even though it's a closed back. The resolution and detail are pretty much the same level as the Aria Stealth, and the tuning is pretty similar to the Aria Stealth. It's that nice Goldilocks tuning I was talking about, the nice slight V-shaped curve that I love so much. It's got that little bit of a bass push, a little bit of a treble. Essentially, like they did take the Aeon 2 Noir. They take the Aeon Noir basically and increase the resolution and clarity. So now it's pretty much, to me, it's one of the best headphones you can get under $1,000, whether open back or closed back. Like for sure, closed back, I'm gonna recommend the Nora X every time. Looking for a $1,000 headphone, yeah, I'm gonna say whether you're looking for open back or closed back, check out the Nora X, okay? This is an amazing tuned headphone. Love the tuning on it. The detail, the clarity, the soundstage are all top tier, especially for a closed back. Really not much downsides to this one. You know, it's even comfortable. You can wear it for hours without any issue, and you can fold it up as well. So you can go traveling with it. Just an incredible headphone, I gotta say. Okay, so also going in my S tier is the Shure SRH940, and you might be thinking, wow, a $300 headphone made it into the S tier. Yes, basically, this headphone does not perform like a $300 headphone. It performs like a $1,000 headphone, basically. Like the amount of detail and resolution that you get out of this thing is like $1,000 headphone level. It's incredible. I know like it looks cheap and it does feel cheap because it's plastic and everything, so build quality is not that great, but I mean, it's $300, right? And the sound quality is just incredible for what it is. Like you get, like the sound tuning, everything is very reference level, I would say, very neutral reference. Like it's actually really, really good as a monitoring headphone. So if you're looking for something that's very close to neutral, doesn't have elevated bass or treble or recessed, it doesn't really have elevated or recessed anything. It's just fairly neutral reference level, and great sub bass extension. Yeah, and a lot of detail. This is really the headphone to get. And it's actually incredible. It's $300 because I kid you not, the detail level on this headphone competes with, yeah, it's almost to the level the Focal clears, to be honest. It's really incredible. And it actually is better than the Meze 109 Pros I talked about, right? You know the Meze 109 Pros I put in the C tier, right? I think the Shure SRH940s have more detail than that. And that's a $900 headphone. These are $300. These actually have even more, slightly more detail than the Shure SRH 1540s, which I talked about as well as a great value headphone. That was in my A tier. So this actually has even more detail than Shure's kind of flagship level headphones, like the 1840s, which is pretty incredible, right? So yeah, the 940s are incredible value. They're not the most comfortable headphone, nor are they like build quality wise the best, but in terms of just detail and terms of tuning, because it is kind of neutral flat type of tuning, I think this is really, really good. I think a lot of audiophiles will like it. The only problem is that because it's Shure, not a lot of audiophiles even know about it, because Shure is more of a company that's catered to like musicians and like engineers and stuff, like kind of like yeah, basically they're catered to like working musicians and engineer, studio musicians, that type of people, right? I think for audiophiles, for some reason, the Shure is not really that popular. I'm not sure why, but the 940s really should be checked out. Like you're talking about neutral, reference, flat type of sound signature, a lot of detail, comparable with $1,000 headphones. Yeah, I think these deserve a better look, to be honest. And I know they're old, but they still compete really, really well. Yeah, so for $300, what can I say? It's just an incredible value. Okay, so also my S tier is the Dan Clark Carinas. These are Dan Clark's flagship headphones, retailing for $4,500. It is a full electrostatic headphone. I tried it in high-end audio shop in Tokyo, and wow, yeah, this really kind of blew me away. Basically, you can think of the tuning as it's similar to the Aeon 2 closed, I would say, which means it's more flatter, neutral reference level, but just, you know, it's on steroids. It's taken up to the max tier, essentially. Like the electrostatic type of sound is amazing. It's got this silky, velvety type of sound to it. The soundstage is incredible. It's very enveloping. Detail and resolution are all top tier. So yeah. Not a lot of headphones I heard better than this in my life, honestly. The Carina is definitely S tier for me. It's one of the best sounding headphones I heard in my life. Yes, I would take it over the Susvara even, because I feel like the Carinas had even more of this enveloping soundstage than the Susvaras. And to be honest, like it has a little bit more of a little bit more better, like for me, like a little bit more fun sounding than the Susvaras. It's not exactly like V-shaped or anything. No, it's very balanced sounding, but I think the Susvaras was a little bit boring sounding to me because it's too flat and neutral. The Carinas are also kind of on the neutral side of things, but not as much as Susvara, I guess. So it's a little bit more interesting sounding, fun sounding to me than Susvaras. So anyways, that's why I put this one even above Susvaras in my ranking. Definitely an end game top tier headphone. Okay, so also my S tier, I gotta put probably the best sounding headphone I ever heard in my life is the Stax SR009S. I haven't heard their newer X9000, but and I was using, you know, the electrostatic amplifier that was available to me at the time. But yeah, these are just incredible sounding headphones. Again, everything I said about the Carina is true with the Stax SR009S. It's just the tuning is a little bit different. I think the SR009S has more of a U shape, so it has a little bit more bass and a little bit more treble compared to the Carinas, but still like done very, very tastefully. It's not like elevated too much or anything like that. I really enjoyed it. I thought these were like just a little bit more fun sounding than even the Carinas. So yeah, overall, I think this may be my just top pick overall. I know these are all on the S tier, but just if you're asking me, hey, Tong, what's the best headphone you ever heard in your life? Okay, Stax SR009S. That's it. Pretty simple for me. Detail, dynamics, imaging, staging, all S tier for me. It's got that incredible 360-degree enveloping soundstage I get with a lot of electrostatics, but yeah, this one is just it's just incredible. The presence, the weighty vocals, like yeah, just everything feels like it's enveloping around me. The silky, velvety type of sound that you get from electrostatics is there. I mean, Stax is the one that it's a Japanese company that's well known for being like kind of the pioneer of electrostatic headphones, right? A lot of electrostatics like really owe themselves to Stax because they're the company that kind of pioneered them. And yeah, just sounds incredible. Of course, you do need a dedicated amplifier to drive electrostatics, but yeah, once you have all the equipment up, it sounds amazing. I know it's expensive, but like I've never heard a better sounding headphone in my life, man. Like, yeah, the tuning, and it's got this U shape, so it's definitely got more of a fun signature to it, but not too much, not overblown. It's done just right, in my opinion, almost like the Aria Stealth level, but just pushed up way above the Aria Stealth level. Yeah, everything, tuning, soundstage, details, tech, everything just S tier, you know. Hard for me to think of a better sounding headphone that I've heard. I haven't heard the X9000 yet. You know, I haven't heard, you know, some of this as far unveiled. You know, I haven't heard that one yet either. But hey, just out of my experience trying all my full size headphones that I've tried and heard so far, I haven't tried the Sennheiser HE1. You know, that $60,000 one. I haven't tried that one either. But just among the headphones I've heard in my life, the SR009S is just incredible. So I gotta put it here. Just incredible sounding headphone. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, that's it, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below of my ranking. And I know there's still tons of headphones I haven't tried, but so far, out of the ones I've tried in my life, which are still a lot, I think this is my ranking. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.